Here we go on a Wednesday morning. Welcome to the middle of your week. And welcome into Ramon and Will. We're fueled by Scooter's Coffee right here on 104.5 The Zone. And Scooter's Coffee is locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Alongside the 11-year NFL veteran, Vol Network analyst Ramon Foster, I am Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins, our producer.
What's up?
Good morning. How we doing?
Good morning, man.
How are you?
How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
I'm coming in with a laugh and a smile this morning because our off-the-air conversations, man, are so much better than the actual content some days, man.
I learned yesterday on 3HL that it was Prime Day. Well, I was reminded yesterday on 3HL that it was Prime Day. And I thought to myself, every summer on Prime Day, I feel like I get a new Ninja appliance.
Yeah.
One year it was, what was it? It was a coffee maker's air fryer.
Air fryer.
Air fryer was 1 year. Instant Pot was another year. When I didn't know how to cook at all, Instant Pot, you just chuck a chicken breast and some sauce in an Instant Pot and just let it do its magic. Like, oh, wow, I have
game changer.
I have a very mid-meal. This is great. And I just went on there this morning. I was like, oh, my gosh, like it's over, right? Ramon was like, no, it's 3 days.
Yeah.
So I looked, and I don't think I think I've graduated beyond the items that get discounted, and I've graduated to items that don't get discounted on Prime Day. I'm shocked and appalled to learn the Ninja Creamy, which makes essentially like blizzards and blasts, and protein shake kind of situations. Isn't even sponsored at all. What are we doing here? I thought everything was like 80% off, and everything must go. Amazon.
Terrible, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, start the morning.
It really is, man. I guess Bezos got to pay for that alleged $600 million wedding. Like, that's what's got to happen, right? Can you imagine, Will? You're due up. You're on deck.
No. No.
You're on deck,
Let's take
Will.
away many zeros. And I'm still having trouble imagining.
About 6,500 is what we get.
Goodness sakes.
But listen, man, like Bezos had a $600 million wedding, man. Man rented out an entire country. Like, he rented out a city, like Venice. Like, what are we doing? But to that point, though, just because you chose to splurge on a life endeavor, you know what I'm saying? A big-time decision. Number 2, I think, for him. So he's trying to do it right this time around as a new billionaire, right? But here's the cold thing. Nice. Don't take away from us. All right, I got another person to fry this morning, too, that's on the same exact table, okay? So here we go. Most vacations, man, we do the same old thing. Like, are you the type of person you go out of town, Will, or to a vacation boys trip, you got to buy a new shirt, maybe pack a shirt, socks, shorts. Sure. You pick up something new, right? Why? Because everybody that's never seen you before need to see you in new clothes. Wrong.
Fair enough.
That's just wrong in itself, okay? So I'm partially to blame for this. But I go to a store that I like to frequent, man, from time to time when I need an accessory to pick up or a T-shirt. I go to my store and I pick up a pack of 3 polo T-shirt, Ralph Lauren polo T-shirts. Will, love getting them. To be quite honest with you, jeans, white or black T-shirt, crisp shoes.
Free shout out.
Perfect setup, okay? Will, the shirts are so thin and flimsy right now. They lost the customers, what I'm telling you.
Oh, wow.
I'm never buying a pack of 3 from
Lauren.
them. Lost me.
Okay.
Will. The fabric
We'll just get a pack of T-shirts at Amazon. I did that recently.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No, I bought outfits from Amazon.
All the time. Yeah.
All the time.
Right.
But polos lost me 100%. Never buying a pack of 3 again. The quality that they once had was thicker. It was nicer. It felt like you bought something special. Will, I had better shirts from Walmart, from Fruit of the Loom. Do you hear me?
Fair enough.
From Hanes, it's doing a whole lot better right now. My Harbor Bay T-shirts, which is like an old man shirt, okay? Guess what? Way better than those. They lost me. So to Amazon and to Ralph this morning, boom, roasted.
Okay,
Thank y'all. Yeah, I ain't mean to take your thunder from your soapbox, but that really ticked me off thinking about it.
Fair enough. Well, look at us giving free publicity this morning to maybe one of the only corporations in America that does not need any in Amazon.com. And to a guy in Jeff Bezos who doesn't need our help.
That's the other
Does
part.
not need our help at all.
Golly. Jeremy, I think it was like $600 million. That was the number I heard. $30 million is probably a drop in a bucket for his yacht to get to Venice.
You can chat directly with us. Sefton and Bank Chat open. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. 615-737-1045. how you jump in. An ESPN analyst says the Titans have the worst offensive playmakers in the NFL. Have the Titans given Cam Ward enough help to reasonably succeed in his rookie season? We'll get into that coming up at 7:20 this morning. Most likely first-time college football playoff teams. Joel Klatt of Fox Sports had a list that I wholeheartedly agree with. Look at me growing and totally agreeing with Joel Klatt. We'll do that in hour 3 this morning. Rhett Bryan going to join us today. We're going to talk about guys on the bubble, maybe on the outside looking in of making the roster with the best chance of making it in training camp here in just 2 weeks' time, Ramon Foster, when training camp begins. We're also going to play a fun game with Rhett this morning that I am very excited about.
Yeah.
We are going to name that Titan, where I'm going to give Rhett and Ramon a description of a player. I could give descriptions like where they were drafted, who they were drafted from, where they began their careers, where they ended their careers, how many years they spent in Tennessee, if they played with or against Ramon Foster in the NFL. So we're looking forward to that coming up at hour 4 this morning.
I am too. I like the trivia. I'll be quite honest with you, Will. I look forward to it because it definitely broadens my horizon. It's just, it's also the name game too. It's legitimately like, okay, I remember this guy. Dang, I forgot this guy. I absolutely love that game from time to time because you can just sit around and have a day during that. Like, legitimately have a day doing that, man. So it's time for Rhett to get crushed today.
I like it. I like it. I'm also excited for us to force Ramon to compliment defensive linemen coming up in about 10 minutes.
See, why would you do that, though?
The Foster 5 this morning is not about current NFL players. It is about the hardest defensive lineman for Ramon to block in both college and the NFL. So, do you have one list for us coming up in a minute?
I got one this time.
You have one list,
I got one. And, of course, I got some honorable mentions and stuff like that, but I got one for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I like it. How difficult was this for you? Did you have some PTSD?
I did. I'm going to be real with you. One of those guys I got into a fight with on the field.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Is that one of your few fines that you had?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, okay, man. But it's a fun list though. It's got a lot of variation in it, I think so. And I only got one college in there too. Only got one college person in there, but another one did make the honorable mention. So you never like really think about those guys until like after the fact. He's like, man, that dude was really good. Like it.
Sure.
There's a guy on this list that you play against folks sometimes just blindly, and you don't understand the weight of like how great, how good they are.
Sure.
And that's one of these dudes on this list, man. You recognize like, yeah, that dude was an animal the day he stepped into the NFL.
I like it.
I'm looking forward to this conversation, most definitely.
We'll do that coming up here in 10 minutes on the program this morning. Yesterday in your Tuesday afternoon headlines, Tennessee getting good news on the football recruiting front as Braden Rouse commits late last night. Kell High School standout linebacker who was ranked pretty highly by On3, picking Tennessee over Alabama, Michigan, and Texas. The number 4 linebacker in the country, according to 247, the number 7 in the On3 industry ranking. Ramon Foster, Tennessee has 2 of the top 5 inside linebackers in the country committed, according to 247.
Man, call me a history snob when it comes down to this stuff, but I think best Vols teams are loaded with linebackers. Legitimately, you think about the guys who are greats that played at Tennessee. If that side of the ball with that type of leadership and athlete is over on that side, I felt a whole lot better about it. And getting these young guys, not even just this year, but guys like Jaden Pilati last year, and then stacking it up again this year, like that is a place where you want to be at. And the other side for me is like, as much as we talk about this offense and all the things that it's done, being able for Tim Banks to stack and stack and stack and be able to, and Coach Inch too, to get guys in that are just athletes and want to play on that defense, and will to really kill it up front, to be quite honest with you, with the idea that, look, the defense may be out there more often. Those guys are like, we get more reps.
Yeah, that's right.
We get more ability to show what we're capable of. And the other cool part for me is the room is stacked already.
Pretty dang good.
You got T-Lander, you got Arian Carter already in starting. Then you had 2 studs last year that committed that were both 4 stars. And then again, you get 2 of the top 5 this year.
And 3 committed last year.
3 committed. That's
Christian Goss, Jaden Harmon, and Jaden Pilati.
Jaden Harmon, dude, That's a good place to be at, and hopefully it can start dragging guys to the finish line. I saw yesterday that he was mentioning he was going to get Tristan Keys. Do we think that's going to happen?
I don't know if Tristan Keys knows that that's going to happen, so it's hard for me to know.
I know. I know you hope.
Depends on which way the wind blows, I think, week to week right now.
I know, but the fact that they're talking about him as much as they possibly can, him and Faison Brandon, that's a good place to be. You want to have the best class in America is what they stated yesterday.
Yeah, Tristan Keys, the number one wide receiver in the country. That would be Tennessee's equivalent of getting a Ryan Williams or Jeremiah Smith type. Yeah. I mean, Jeremiah Smiths are one of one that come around every 5 years. Not to say that just because the guy's the number one receiver in the country, he would be that, but he would be Tennessee's equivalent of that if they're able to make that move happen. We'll dive into that more coming up this morning at 7 o'clock, and the other commitment Tennessee got yesterday as well from the state of Tennessee. But when we come back, it is the Foster Five back again this morning. Ramon Foster is going to do something very difficult. He is going to compliment defensive linemen, ranking the most difficult ones to block in his NFL and college careers. Coming up next.
Hey, you outdoor and backyard enthusiasts like myself, it's Ramon Foster. If you're ready to fight back and win back your yard from relentless mosquitoes like I was, let me tell you about the Mosquito Max from All American Pest Control. All American's Mosquito Max is a one-stop proven solution for both mosquitoes and year-round pest prevention. With All Americans Mosquitoes Max, you get monthly mosquito misting, spiderweb removal, and perimeter pest control around your home. It's the ultimate solution for mosquito-free summer. And again, if there's ever an issue with anything that All American Pest Control does, just call them right back out, man. They'll get it handled for free and as quick as possible to one of the best companies around as it pertains to how they treat their clients and the work they do. So go ahead and make the switch to All American Pest Control today. You can visit their website to do that at yuckbugs.com. That's yuckbugs.com. And be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Wednesday morning starts right here on 104.5 The Zone with Ramon Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Glad you decided to wake up with us. We'd love it if you would go to 104.5 The Zone TV and like us on YouTube. And if you'd go to your favorite podcast platform and search Ramon and Will, hit the subscribe button and get the show wherever you listen to podcasts, every single hour, every interview, every Foster 5 to start the morning. And this morning, Ramon Foster is going to be the bigger person. He is going to do something that he doesn't like to do. Oil and water don't mix. Offensive linemen and defensive linemen don't mix. But this morning, we're going to mix up that oil and water to make a nice little sauce, like a nice little piece of compliments.
Yeah. I'm not super huge on like fettuccine sauce, like the cheese sauce, the Parmesan sauce. They're going like
Alfredo?
Alfredo. Yeah, Alfredo's not mine.
That's the pasta.
Yeah, the pasta. My bad. That's on me. I'm almost as bad as Self was yesterday criticizing pasta from Italy and everything. Did you hear that yesterday? Oh my gosh. I thought Savage, who was back yesterday, was going to lose it.
I loved it. It was great to hear.
Yeah, he said that it was basically the pasta over there tasted just a little bit fresh. Over here is a little bit rubber. And Ron was just like, what are you talking about? Do you not know good pasta versus like bad pasta? Like it was, if you know our guy Ron Slay, you know, don't diss.
Who just entered the F&M Bank chat this morning.
Did he?
Just told us good morning.
Savage. He wasn't pleased with Zeph yesterday.
Wow.
So is
That's
what I'm
tough
telling
to hear.
you. Yeah, but I'm not huge on the Alfredo sauce. I like it from time to time, but it ain't necessarily my thing. But we'll make it work. Listen,
Lucas has told me that, and I think has told us before that if you go ask for fettuccine Alfredo in Italy, the waiter will think that you think his name is Alfredo. Like there's no such thing as the Alfredo sauce that we have in America in Italy.
Yeah, that's
like we
tough.
do it way more like buttery and creamy and heavy. And over there, they're like, "What do you mean?
What do you mean, American?" Yeah, those types of things. But we're gonna make it work, though. Is what we're saying. If it's in front of us, it's gonna get 8. Throw me some chicken on it. We're good to go.
Justin, do you have something on that?
Yeah, so my brother went to Italy several years ago, and he said that he ordered chicken Alfredo, and they gave him butter noodles because they said that's an Americanized thing.
I can see that.
Like most Mexican food, it's Americanized.
See, I feel on the right side of history with that because I am like you. I prefer a red sauce to a white sauce.
Yeah.
Or I'll make my own and just do like a little bit of heavy cream and a lot of Parmesan. That's not that bad. It's just the butter and like the heaviness of it that I don't like.
The Alfredo side of it to me throws me all the way off. Plus, I got sick off of it one time at this, this national chain restaurant that I went to and got a seafood pasta. It was, I was dog sick.
Vandy Man on YouTube says Zeph's favorite Italian is probably Fazoli's. Now, there will be no Fazoli slander on this show.
Is that right?
We will not stand for any Fazoli slander. Fazoli's is an outstanding establishment.
Well, not even
outstanding
Lucas
chain
Fazoli's, though.
Okay.
And he eats
He can
everything.
be better than us. I don't care.
He eats everything.
Fazoli's is great.
Yes, it is.
What's wrong with Fazoli's?
On the AAU basketball trip?
Absolutely.
100%.
We had this cross-country meet every year in high school that we did down in Smyrna, Sharp Springs Park down there.
Yeah.
And we would always go to the Fazoli's right there after the meet.
I'm telling you.
Those were formative years for me.
Do they still have the unlimited breadsticks?
I don't know. I haven't been in a while, but
there's one in Madison. I know that.
this is still America, isn't it?
I mean, somebody's hogging it, Will, 100%.
We have free will. Like life is too short and too difficult to not enjoy cheap Italian food.
That's what I'm saying.
It can just be that. It can just be cheap Italian food, and that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be gourmet. It doesn't have to, doesn't have to change your life. It can just be solid.
See, Vandy Man's what you was like,
Vandy Man says, I like it. Okay, good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and
That's
you just
good. You know
pull in,
ball.
fill up, and leave. That's essentially what you're treated like the gas station. Well, nobody complains about the gas station like this.
Listen, if you came to our show this morning to comment before the sun even comes up, you already know ball. We already like your taste and your judgment. So I should have assumed that you were also on the right side of history, Vandy Man. That's on me.
And he said, yes, the breadsticks are still unlimited.
I'm going to have to go this week. That sounds terrific. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of sauce we're going to mix oil and water and all those things this
Red
morning.
pepper flakes in there too.
Ramon Foster is going to rank the best defensive lineman he ever had to block. What you got for us? Number 5 in the Foster 5.
Number 5. I'm going to college, man. First time getting a start in this big old setting. You know where I'm headed to. I'm heading to Baton Rouge. Okay? And
Baton where?
Baton Rouge. You know what I'm saying? Baton Rouge.
You get add a little pause in there.
You hear that
Baton
right
Rouge.
there? Baton Rouge.
All right, come on. Let's hear it.
Who am I, Coach O? What that
Bats on Ruiz was crazy. Okay, anyway.
All right,
sorry, go ahead. We're back. We're back.
We're back. All right, here we go. I got to give a 2-for-1 on this one. I know I do this thing, but you can't call one without the other, and I saw them both in the NFL, too. Okay. And then when I say them both, you're going to say, yeah.
Okay.
Glenn Dorsey, who doesn't give enough credit.
Yep.
And Kyle Williams, both.
So you're going 5A, 5B?
Yes. I have to.
All right.
That was my welcome. Hey, welcome to the SEC moment with those two. Kyle Williams grabbed my hand one time in a game, and that 05 game, I was like, what is this? This is new to me. And at that point, Glenn Dorsey was right behind him, Will. I had to see Glenn Dorsey in Kansas City for years, and also Kyle in Buffalo. Both still headaches. I can't name one without the other, especially on that defense.
So Glenn Dorsey was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs 5th overall in 2008.
Come on.
Where he played 8 seasons, 5 in Kansas City, 3 in San Francisco. In college, Glenn Dorsey, he was top 10 in Heisman voting in 2007. Nagurski winner, All-American, 2007, 14 games, 34 tackles, 7 sacks, 3 passes defended, and a forced fumble. For a guy playing interior defensive line, that is a very solid stat line.
Come on, man.
Very solid stat line.
And Kyle was right there beside him. So, yeah, one without the other, man. I can't do that one.
All right. So those two were both on the field in one of probably your favorite wins, I would say.
They were.
As a Tennessee Volunteer in Baton Rouge, winning in overtime?
As a young fella, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? I was so dumb to the fact.
Didn't know how difficult it was.
Didn't know how difficult it. I was just, drinking water through a fire hose is what that was.
I like it. All right, yeah. Kyle Williams and Glenn Dorsey at 5A and 5B. Who's at number 4?
Man, this is the one I said I didn't know the weight of like what he was at the time. But it was Richard Seymour. Like, I knew what Richard Seymour was.
Okay.
Richard Seymour. There's also a clip of him out there, of him trying to jack me underneath my chin, too, by the way. If John Henderson was on that Raiders team, actually. Whoa. He hit me, dude, and I was just like, what in the world? Do you hear me? Got a fine behind that one, too. But Richard Seymour, by far one of the most precise movers I've ever played on the field. Long arms.
Precise mover. That's an interesting phrase.
No wasted movement whatsoever. Leverage was good. Even at that age, arms was long, able to hit you, push you, get off and make a play. HOF, and I get it.
So precise mover. That's what do you mean by that? Like,
I mean, when the ball snaps, you feel him. There's no sidestep. There's no
glides.
He glides forward. He is strong.
There's no dancing. Like he's going exactly where he wants to go.
Straight business, and he's got a plan for it every single time.
I like that.
And he's one of those guys that'll get you up on your left foot and then know how to get you off your right foot at the same time. Like that's what I mean by precise mover. Like I know there's no plays off with a guy like him. But you better not have a playoff with him.
So he was good later in his career. That's when you would have played him because he was drafted in 2001, 6th overall out of Georgia by the New England Patriots, multi-time Super Bowl winner with New England, who made 5 Pro Bowls in New England in 5 straight years from 2002 through 2006. Career high 8 sacks in both 2003 and 2008. And then when you played him, he would have been an Oakland Raider.
Yeah, he was.
And he was a Pro Bowler at age 31 and 32 in 2010 and 2011. 5.5 sacks, fumble recovery, 2 passes defended, 48 tackles in 2010.
Yeah, very precise. You see why in his old age, like I bring up like the precise movements, like he still was doing the basics.
So I found, I think probably the first time you would have played him. So November 21st, 2010.
In Pittsburgh?
Yep. 35-3, a Raiders win.
Yeah.
On that day.
Felt it that day.
35-3.
100%
Goodness.
felt it. Will.
Y'all probably didn't lose 35-3 very often.
No, it wasn't that often, but what I'm telling you, they also had John Henderson on that team. And in that, I thought John and I represented by the same guy, Joel Siegel. And I was like, John going to take it easy on me. Wrong. Wrong. Well, absolutely not.
Big John.
Man. Big John.
It. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Those Raiders fronts, anytime. I mean, for so long, and even still, I mean, even with Max Crosby now, to an extent. You play the Raiders.
Yeah.
I imagine you got to have a certain expectation and a certain mindset to go up against that defense. It's kind of one of those teams that takes on the personality of its city Obviously, it's in a new city now, and they just have road fans in their stadium all the time. But that's one of the shames of them moving from Oakland remote was that those defensive fronts and those nasty Al Davis defenses took on the perfect personality of the black hole in Oakland.
And that's exactly what they were. They were big, they were fast, they were strong. And at that time, too, I'm looking at the guys that's on this doggone defense, too. Quinn Groves was out there at the time, too. Like, another Georgia guy. Wasn't he Georgia? Yeah, Quinn Groves was Georgia also.
I'll double check.
But I'm looking at just the guys that they had around and on that team, and you say to yourself, like, Al Davis had a type. And if he was around, they were picking that type.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Tommy Kelly was on that defense. Another underrated guy. Tommy Kelly, John Henderson, Richard Seymour on that line. And I'm in my second year, Will.
2010, man. Crazy.
Yeah, all right.
Crazy.
You better have your
when
mind
was your
right.
first start in 2010?
My first start was, I
We've
think
talked
it was
about
like
this before.
week 2 or week 3.
I think
it was in
that's
there.
right.
Yeah,
okay.
It was week 2. I thought I should have won it out of training camp.
Sure.
But I turned the corner and didn't turn back after that, though.
So that's number 4. Number 3 on your list.
Number 3, I got him young, but I saw what it was going to be.
Okay.
Chris Jones.
Oh, my gosh. I can't imagine.
Chris Jones, if I'm not mistaken, this was 2019 too. You know what got me with Chris Jones? No, it was sooner than that. That's on me. What got me with Chris Jones was this. He was that big at his size. He's 6'6", over 300 pounds.
Yep.
At his size, I saw that he was good at the run.
Sure.
But he was a dancing bear type from the get-go. He was a sack getter. He was, you think you're going to block me? Watch me quick arm over you. We had one of the best battles I felt like I had against anybody. And at that time, he was a, air quotation marks, young guy. And watching him be the dude that you thought like he was going to be, it's funny watching him now. Like, yeah, he was always going to be this good.
He certainly was a high potential guy.
Yeah.
When he was drafted 37th overall by Kansas City, again, out of Mississippi State, same as Jeffrey Simmons, only had 2 sacks his first season, played all 16 games, 6.5 sacks in year 2 with 7 starts, and then he exploded in 2018. 15.5 sacks as really a Jarrell Casey type, like, interior pass rushing lineman. I mean, you know how hard that is to do? 15.5 sacks for the position he plays. I know you know it, but just talking to myself, like that is a pretty insane number that he, replicated again in 2022.
And had to see him time and time again, Will. And you had to, you're not guessing with him.
Right.
But he's so sporadic in how he goes about his approach to you. Like, he going to get low and stop the run, and then he sets you up. He going to run through your face. And then as soon as you start the anchor, like, he's agile enough to, like, beat you on the edge, too. It is
just quick enough to go around you, but strong enough to go through you.
But he shouldn't be at that doggone size. That was new to me.
Dancing bear, that's the way you describe J.C. Latham, too.
A dancing bear.
Dancing bears are difficult.
Yeah, because there's no, you better guess with him, but you better be right, if that makes sense.
Sure. So you would have played Chris Jones for the first time on October the 15th, 2017, and you were the first team, Pittsburgh, that year to beat that Kansas City team. Kansas City started that year 5-0. Of course, that season, as Titans fans know, ended with a loss to the Tennessee Titans in the wild card round as Marcus Mariota threw a touchdown pass to himself on a cold January night in Kansas City. But you guys beat Chris Jones in Kansas City 19-13 on Sunday, October the 15th in 2017. That was the first time Chris Jones played the Steelers while you were in Pittsburgh.
It was
year 2 for him.
It was a good battle, man. And then I think he was almost in rotation mode, too. So you knew you had to be piped up to go against him because he had a lot of energy.
Thankfully, actually, no, you did play him in his 15.5 sack season as well.
Yeah.
Week 2 of 2018, your next to last season of the NFL. You played the Chiefs week 2, Sunday, September the 16th, 42-37 win for Kansas City in Pittsburgh.
That's when Patrick arrived.
Yes, it was.
No.
Yes, it was.
That was
sure was.
And I thought we were good. We were good on offense that year.
You can kind of thank the Titans a little bit for that because the Titans knocked out Alex Smith in 2017.
Why?
In the wild card round of the play. No, Mahomes was always going to be the starter in 2018, barring something really weird that Alex Smith did. But that was year 1 of Patrick Mahomes, and he threw for 5,000 yards that year.
I remember him.
Pretty decent.
That's a whole nother story right there. It legit. Did Chris Jones
Watching
have a sack that game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from the sideline. And, like, there was no answer for us.
I want to ask Rhett about that, too, because Rhett has talked about that. Rhett Bryan will join us at 9 this morning. But they've talked about that going up for preseason games.
Yeah.
Of talking to people and, like, it's kind of like when you go to a high school football practice and you're like, all right, coach, like, what do you think? Or you're talking to the high school coach, and, hey, we got this freshman, and this kid's going to be special. That's how people in Kansas City were apparently talking about Patrick Mahomes back then. Like, no, we got this kid that, just trust me, it's a little bit different. It's like the big prospect in baseball. No, the ball, it sounds a little bit different off his bat. They were talking about that about Patrick Mahomes, and whoever they were right.
They were right.
They were absolutely right.
We heard about them, and we just dismissed them like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Got this young phenom quarterback. So why is he playing? And then we found out. All right, top 2 on your list. Hardest defensive lineman to block.
I feel bad by putting this guy number 2 because he's just a dog himself. Didn't get the credit because of where he played at, but it's Geno Atkins.
I thought he'd be number 1. I knew he was going to be on this list at some point.
It's Geno Atkins. I feel bad for having him at 2 because we saw each other every single play. And the respect that he had for me and I had for him and how we battled. Nice. I never forget, I tried to snatch him. Basically, is what it is. And he's a slight, as far as his height goes, defensive line. One of the first Aaron Donalds. And I tried to pull him to the ground using my body, my leverage. And when I pulled him, his leverage, because of his height, he just rose up like an escalator and just bull rushed me backwards. I'll tell you this, I never pulled that move again because of him. I went to the sideline. I didn't give up the sack. I think he grabbed the quarterback, Ben had to throw it away or something like that. I went to the sideline, and the assistant O-line coach said, why'd you try that move? I was like, well, I was just trying something. I was like, well, never do that again.
That's funny.
At his size, I never played against a defensive lineman, especially. I'm still new to guard at this point.
Yeah, right.
Never played against a guy that had that type of leverage. And sack monster, man.
4th round pick out of Georgia, Cincinnati, 120th overall in the 2010 NFL draft. You also, I mean, you had to see him a lot in college and in the NFL because
not in college.
Really?
I play guard.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Because I remember talking to Anthony Parker. Was like, do you know Geno Atkins? Like, you don't know Geno Atkins? I was like, no, I was blocking the defensive ends.
I'm worried about these quick guys to the outside.
Yeah. I had no idea how good he was in college, though.
Yeah, he was 06 through 09 at Georgia. You at least shared the field with him all through college and the NFL. And an 11-year NFL career, which started and ended 1 year after yours. He was literally your exact time frame, just 1 year later.
Yeah.
And, boy, he was so good for those Kansas City teams. He was counting in real estate. Yeah, that's right. That's what I meant. Cincinnati teams. Made the Pro Bowl 2011 and 2012, and then every year from 2014 to 2019, a one-team guy. Yeah. 75 and a half sacks as an interior defensive lineman, as good as it gets.
He should have went somewhere else.
As good as it gets.
Yeah.
He's too good for Cincinnati.
He was too good for Cincinnati. He deserves a ring like Aaron Donald deserved one.
Yeah, right.
In my opinion.
Right, totally. And then number 1, Ramon Foster, who was the hardest defensive lineman to block in your football career?
Haloti Nata.
Yeah.
Haloti. Haloti.
How did I not see that one coming?
The run game, all right, you expect that. Look how big of he's bigger than a house, okay? Like, you knew that. And then you see the athlete come out. You see the dude that NFL used to show those videos of him running with the football and rugby. I see why they handed him the football. You send me one of my most embarrassing moments ever in my career, and it's out there. And I've recently talked to my quarterback about this play.
Okay.
He steamrolls over me, Will. Now, he also got a fine behind this, but he said, screw it. Do you hear me? He steamrolled over me, and I'm a young star at right guard at this time, too. He runs over me, grabs Ben, hit Ben, uses his club of a fist, go underneath the face mask and break Ben's nose. Ben had to have emergency surgery the next day.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm a young new starter.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Is this a rookie year?
Yeah. Rookie year or 10. It was one or the other, okay? All I know is the moment.
First year as a starter.
I thought I was going to be fired. I'm undrafted.
Oh,
the
man.
franchise quarterback nose just got broken. Mind you, Ben's already had reconstruction face surgery from the motorcycle accident. Here I am ruining his face again. Like I heard, I went and saw Ben the next day at the hospital. You want to talk about like, I'm praying, get me to Thursday so I can make the team again.
Wow.
But Haloti Ngata was a monster. And still he left Baltimore and went to Detroit and did similar things, man. Yeah. But an unpredictable guy. I'd almost put him in the same conversation as Chris Jones. But Haloti was just that, though. Like, tit for tat, I do think that's his comp.
Sure.
But yeah, most definitely.
Haloti Ngata, the hardest guy to block. That one makes sense.
The size.
Him and Geno Atkins being on this list make a lot of sense for sure.
I mean.
So with that, I think that would have been, if you think it was 2010, your first year starting, 13-10 Steelers win December 5th, 2010 in Baltimore?
Yes. That's it.
That was it. That's your first start against the Ravens in your career.
Yeah. No.
And certainly no shame in that, too. I mean, that's a walking gold jacket type guy.
It is.
Who you are playing as a rookie.
Mind you, Suggs is over there, too. And Ray Lewis is over there. And Ed Reed is over there. So
that starting defense, according to Football Reference, Corey Redding, Haloti Ngata, Kelly Gregg, with Terrell Suggs on the outside, linebackers Jameel McClain, Ray Lewis, Jarrett Johnson, corners Chris Carr and Josh Wilson, safeties DeJuan Landry and Ed Reed.
Stop, Will.
What? No, but let me do your defense though. Evander Hood, Brett Kiesel, Casey Hampton, outside linebackers James Harrison and Lamar Woodley. You had James Ferrier or Lawrence Timmons inside. B-Mac, Bryant McFadden, and Willie Gay at corner. Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark at safety. Y'all had a team too, all right? Don't get it twisted.
No.
Anyway, that's Ramon Foster's Foster 5, his hardest 5 players to block. We'll get to his honorable mentions and we'll heal some of the hurt of complimenting these defensive linemen. Coming up next, here on Ramon and Will. Wednesday morning on Ramon Will is fueled by Scooter's Coffee. We got a little bit of PTSD in the studio this morning.
We do.
Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, 615-737-1045. So the Foster 5 this morning is Ramon telling us the hardest defensive lineman to block in his college and NFL career. 11 seasons in the NFL, 5 at Tennessee. Glenn Dorsey and Kyle Williams, 5A and 5B at LSU. Richard Seymour was 4. Chris Jones was 3. Geno Atkins 2. And Haloti Ngata is 1. We've got Ramon going through YouTube highlights of Chris Jones just losing it in the break here.
Because we're
having a nice time.
It's 2018 season. I showed Will a clip right here, man. I'm over here bull.
He's hurt. Ramon is hurt right now in the break.
I'm talking about.
I would be.
I'm gonna show it on the zone right quick,
if
man.
If I had to stand in Chris Jones's way, I'd be hurt too.
Look at this. Job is done. Job is done. Will. Look, he's blocked. He's locked out. Somehow there's a sack fumble right there. He picks it up and scores a touchdown.
That's right. Did your job. Ball was held on to for too long. Let's get Big Ben on the phone right now.
Talking about forklifts.
Ben, I have a lot of questions. First of all, how dare you? As Kelly Kapoor in The Office would say. I have a lot of questions. First of all, how dare you?
Listen, I'm getting a text from our guy Savage saying there's some good stuff this morning because he saw all of this. Savage, you're right, man.
Hey, and I will brag on Ramon because he's not going to do it. You play 11 years in this league and you survive against guys like, not only survive, you thrive. You make it 11 years. You've not only survived and just treaded water against guys like this, you have held your own and you have kept them from your quarterback. So that's the first thing is that we joke about how hard it was to block them and how much they got you. You got them more than they got you if you made it 11 years.
Case in point
we'll pat you on the back for that first of all. Because
this morning,
we joke about this being hard to talk about all these things, but as an offensive lineman, it's kind of like the opposite of a batting average in baseball. If you win 80 to 85 to 90% of the time, you're doing a good job.
Preaching.
So,
okay,
yeah.
And that number, that's what's crazy. We probably need to see if we can find the stats on that. What's the survivable rep for like an offensive? It's probably closer to 92 or better.
Of like what is an average pressure rate to allow?
Yeah. Or percentage of like wins or and to be quite honest with you, did you get your job done?
Yeah, sure.
Like what's the win percentage?
We'll find the middle of the road PFF linemen and tell you what their numbers are. We can effort that for later.
My heart rate up, dude.
All right, honorable mentions. Who do we not get to that was hard to block?
I got a longer list just so you know, so I'm gonna go through quicker. Frosty Rucker.
Frosty Rucker.
Yes,
I'm going to be honest with you. I was this exact seconds years old when I learned that was a human being.
Who is that? Got a lineage of. He's a hybrid D-end, D-tackle that played under 3 technique from time to time. Played with the Raiders, played with the Bengals also. And I think they got a family of guys that's been in the NFL too. Frosty Rucker being one of those guys.
Frosty Rucker. Okay.
Listen to me. A great dude too.
Okay.
He's a jerk on the field.
You were talking about with Geno Atkins, like. Man, if I was going up against Geno Atkins, I wouldn't like that guy as a person.
No, listen.
It's cool the amount of respect you have for a lot of these guys as people, and maybe some of them you don't. So I won't out you on that. But the way you said about Geno Atkins, like y'all having a mutual respect for each other, that's pretty cool.
I'm talking about tip of the cap.
Yeah.
Frosty Rucker's in that conversation too. OG vet, man. Wesley Woodyard from college to the NFL.
Yeah.
Easily on that list.
We love Wes.
Another guy from Mississippi State. A lot of people don't know. You may know it because you're an SEC guy. Wallace Gilberry.
I don't. I'm not familiar with this game.
Undersized D-end that had to play D-tackle in Cincinnati. Was doing a bunch of double barrel stuff. Sure. He was a menace. Like he come around on a TE and just clean your clock. It was he was in those Pac-Man videos.
With a name like Wallace, that goes with your old motto that if you have a name that sounds like you're a little bit older,
Richard, Herbert,
then you got to be a dude.
Greg. Yeah, he's in that conversation.
I like it.
I got the young end of Myles Garrett. I understood it early on. Myles Garrett, his ability to bend.
You would have had him for 2 years?
2 years.
So I want to say, because he was the same draft as Derek Barnett. He was the number 1 overall pick in the 2018 draft in Philly. You would have had him for 2 years. Yeah,
I got
2018
him 17,
and 19.
18, and 19. I got him 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 17, 18, and 19.
That's right. Yeah, he was the year before.
Yeah.
He was a year older than Derek was.
Carlos Dunlap is on this. He's on this list.
Florida guy, too.
Florida guy. Malik Jackson. I mentioned him a lot, but he didn't make the top 5.
Right.
That same defense, man, Derek Wolfe when he was in Denver.
Okay.
A menace. And it may have been the altitude, too. Prep yourself just a little bit, Will, for the altitude.
Yeah. Start wearing an altitude mask now when I work out.
I'm telling you. And I'm about to end it real close. Brandon Williams, nose tackle, D tackle for the Ravens. Just couldn't move him. If you could turn him sideways, that's best you needed to do right there. Brandon Williams, one of those big D tackles that the Ravens have. DeForest Buckner's on that list.
Yeah.
Tall, long body, long arm guy, too.
Solid.
Another one, Jonathan Hankins. He's still at it. He's with the Raiders, I think, now. And then to finish it off, man, Terrell Suggs, who I did have to see from time to time.
Yep.
And then VFL Sean Ellis, a.k.a. Big Cat.
Ellis, yeah,
Big Cat.
that's right.
Yeah.
I like it. Sally asks on YouTube, who was the best Titans D lineman you played against?
Easily, I think it's Jarrell.
Jarrell Casey.
Easily Jarrell.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for Jarrell, too, and how he played. Carl Klug.
The way he made it in his career, too. Yeah, Carl Klug, underrated Titan.
Very much so.
Absolutely an
Carl Klug was in
underrated
that
Titan.
conversation.
Iowa Hawkeye, Carl Klug.
Yes. But yeah, that's Casey definitely number one on that list.
I like it. That is the Foster Five this morning. Most difficult lineman to block. We will get back to that list coming up later in the show. If you missed it when we catch up on the show for people who are sleeping in this morning. And coming up next, we led the show with it. Tennessee adding a pair of football commitments yesterday. We had Matt Ray of VolQuest on the show yesterday morning, who previewed the process and the commitment and the player that is now a Tennessee commitment. We'll tell you what you need to know about the four-star linebacker Braden Rouse, according to Matt Ray, who talked to Braden for VolQuest.com yesterday. Coming up next.
7:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Vols football, they keep the iron hot as they land two more commits yesterday and coveted 6'3", 220-pounder and four-star linebacker Braden Rouse. The number 7 linebacker in the country chose Tennessee over Michigan, Texas, and Alabama. The Vols also landed 3-star in-state cornerback yesterday from Jackson, Tennessee, Javonte Smith, who chose the Vols over Arkansas, Missouri, and West Virginia. SEC Media Days next week in Atlanta, and the Vols announced yesterday that they will be sending tight end Miles Kitselman, defensive lineman Bryson Eason, and linebacker Arion Carter, as well as Josh Heupel. Vanderbilt, they're sending quarterback Diego Pavia, linebacker Randon Fontenette, and cornerback Martell Height, as well as head coach Clark Lee. Tonight, Nashville SC, they seek to extend their 15th straight unbeaten and second straight win over DC United in the last 10 days, as the quarterfinal of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is tonight. They host the nation's capital side at Geodis Park with first kick at 8 p.m. And in the NHL Board of Governors and NHLPA have agreed to a new CBA yesterday that will start in 2026 and it will extend through 2030. The full details of the agreement have yet to be released, but the new CBA will include an 84-game season, which is up from 82 games, and it began in 1995. There will also be a shortened max term contracts. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday morning, hour 2 starts right now on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome into Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned Scooters location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Ramon, the thing I love about Scooters is if you want a lot of sugar in your drinks, they got that for you. Mm-hmm. But if you don't like the sugar, you don't like having syrup with a side of coffee, you don't have to do that either.
No.
A good black coffee, it's got flavor, it's got depth to it. You get the vanilla, you get the scooter doodle, a little bit of cinnamon in there, whatever you get.
You preaching? Come on.
Absolutely tremendous. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. The service will leave you with a smile as well. Great way to start your Wednesday.
Yes, it is, man. By the way, a better way to start your Wednesday is going back and looking at old tape, too. Justin Hawkins, our producer, J-Hawk, came out, man. You know, we take a little break outside. He was like, did you ever go against Aaron Donald? I had to think. It's like, yeah, I'm sure I did.
Sure.
In St. Louis, when they were the St. Louis Rams, I think the field the football field caught on fire, too, if I'm not mistaken, that game. And Vic had to come in for a spell or two. But, yes, I'm looking at this tape. We won. Jack Rabbit Jenkins is on this team. Coach Mack is probably on that side.
No, he 100% is. What year was this?
15.
2015?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's on that sideline right now. Oh, wow.
2015, Aaron Donald was 24 years old, and you guys got a 12-6 win.
We earned that one.
On September the 27th, 2015.
I was telling you, Michael Brockers is on that team, too. I saw him mostly. Aaron Donald went against the right guard for the most part, David DeCastro. I do remember him after his game. It was like, bro, this dude is insane.
All right, listen to the staff that was what was Jeff Fisher's staff that season. Rams were 7-9 that year. They were third in the NFC West. Greg Williams was defensive coordinator.
Jeez.
Frank Bush was the linebackers coach. John Fossil was the special teams coordinator. Coach Mack was assistant head coach. And the defensive backs coach, Denard Wilson.
Get out of here. What? So I've played against and seen all of those guys before.
Yeah, you and Mack have been on the sidelines many times before.
A small world, man. Golly, Denard Wilson being the defensive backs coach, like, you don't realize how long he's been in it. Like, this is 15. This is over 10 years ago at this point right now. Goodness gracious, man. Look at Landry Jones, who's now at UT. He's on the sideline of this game.
Former Oklahoma Sooner.
We got to stop doing this name game thing. I'm getting too geeked. I never look at old tape either, so, like, seeing a bunch of this stuff is kind of cool to me. We're doing the tap again. Look at AB. Nope, first down.
If you're just now joining us, we've opened the morning with the Foster Five. Ramon ranked the Most difficult defensive lineman to block. And you get that list at Ramon and Will, where you can follow the show on Twitter. We got a graphic up of those rankings. And if you missed the reasoning, you can hit the podcast feed. Just search Ramon and Will wherever you download podcasts and hear about why Ramon Foster didn't like to block Haloti Ngata.
Yeah,
good
man.
stuff this morning.
That was good stuff. I appreciate it.
From past NFL stars to potentially a future one. Look at that transition. Tennessee getting a commitment yesterday from 4-star linebacker Braden Rouse from Kell High School in Marietta, Georgia. He tells Matt Ray at VolQuest, I feel like William Inge sees me as a human and not just a football player. He's going to coach me hard, but also teach me life skills and develop me as a person. He's coached 4 Dick Butkus Award finalists. He is a really good linebackers coach and knows his stuff. Tennessee now has commitments from 2 of the top 7 inside linebacker prospects in America, according to the On3 industry rankings. Braden Rouse yesterday picking Tennessee, Ramon, over Michigan, Alabama, and Texas, who was the really second choice by many accounts. UT over Texas. For the product of Marietta, Georgia.
What's fascinating is reading up on Matt Ray's article. He did an interview with Braden Rouse yesterday. It was funny on how he went about his process. Nobody really knew where he was going to go, when he was going to commit. The Hayes Fawcett guy also on Twitter yesterday tweeted out the Texas Bevo GIF was. I thought, well, Braden Rouse is going to Texas.
I think it was for a different prospect.
Yeah. Did they get one yesterday? Because one went to Oregon.
It doesn't always happen the same day Hayes Fawcett tweets out a teaser.
Did not know.
Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be, I don't know.
Well, I know there was a 5-star that I think committed to Oregon that was also in the Texas conversation. Either way, UT Junior will be fine. With that being said, though, what was fascinating is hearing Braden Rouse describe what his process was. He said in the beginning, Tennessee jumped on him early. They identified him quickly after his first game. He started at inside linebacker, and he was just like the trust that he had in them from there. But it was crazy that he said, I tried to find all the reasons not to commit to Tennessee in his process. He was like, the money didn't matter. He was like, that's going to be there. He's like, he wanted to feel the relationship, the vibe, and just the family atmosphere of it. Is some of the stuff I'm paraphrasing what he said.
Sure.
But it was a lot of that. And I was just like, he tried to find a reason not to go to UT. And committed to UT still. So that says a lot, man. For the people that got questions about Heupel or about what the state of the Vols, you continue to win guys like this in the way that they are actually winning them, and there's also the retention part of it too.
Sure.
But that's huge, man.
We heard from Matt Ray yesterday on the show. VolQuest on 3 writer pinch hitting for Austin Price yesterday morning. We asked about the process for Braden Rouse, the thing that was really kept under wraps, and told both schools minutes before committing where he was committing. This was Matt Ray of VolQuest on 3 talking about the inside linebacker prospect who is now a Tennessee commitment yesterday.
Friggin' recruitment, guys. This one has gone really quiet in the closing stages, and it sounds like from everything that I've been able to gather working through yesterday evening that nobody's really going to get an indication going into this decision at 7 p.m. at Kell High School. Braden Rouse was able to get to a decision last week while on family vacation. A lot of discussions there between him and his family. They came home. They decided to move the decision date up a little bit and get this out of the way. But the plan currently is to go into this decision and not tell a school until just a few minutes before they go up on stage and make their announcement. I think when you look at this, I think there's cautious optimism around Tennessee and there's cautious optimism around Texas. We've heard that there's been an ending shot for 4 different commitment videos. So it would kind of surprise me at this point if it was Alabama or Michigan. It just doesn't feel like there's as much optimism around those programs, not as much chatter. I think this really comes down to Tennessee and Texas when everything settles at the end of the night. But this is just one of those recruitments that you don't see a lot of anymore. Just really close to the vest that people around Kell High School don't know what to expect. So there's a lot of anticipation. But I think when you look at this from the Tennessee side, they've recruited them as long as anybody. They got there early. They've probably still got the best relationships. I think there's a lot of positives that work in Tennessee's favor that leads to that cautious optimism. But Texas really put their best foot forward, as we've been saying over at VolQuest for some time. They made a big pitch to Braden Rouse during his official visit in June. They showed him the usage and the development, at the linebacker position in Austin, and they're really selling Anthony Hill Jr., who has potential to be a top 50 pick in next year's draft, as the role that he can fit into. But I think Tennessee's done a nice job of selling things to him as well in terms of the football fit. And I think they answered a lot of those questions during that last official visit. So this is just a really unique recruitment in today's world, and kind of excited to see what happens for Braden Rouse tonight.
Old school way of a recruitment coming to an end. That was Matt Ray of VolQuest on the show yesterday. Great stuff at VolQuest.com and his interview with the newest Tennessee commitment. Clear, Ramon, that Texas put its best foot forward, as Matt says there, and wanted this kid. And this is how you take the next step.
It is.
Into being a good to then great football program, is you have to continue to consistently win recruiting battles against Texas, Michigan, and Alabama the way they did in this one.
Man, I'm seeing Eric's comment said the Vols have more inside linebackers than the Titans. Here's the thing, though, too. Looking at Braden Rouse, he can play the edge. If y'all hadn't looked at his tape, which I'm guessing a lot of folks haven't, his ability to make plays, Will, is elite. I'll say this. Looking at his tape, he seems to me one of those prospects Tennessee don't get because they probably think they're too good for Tennessee, to be quite honest with you. Like, to where Tennessee's headed to, this is the guy to help drag everybody else to the finish line from what I've seen on his tape. And you know what, too? That's a good problem to have. If you got that many inside linebackers, again, you can move some of those guys around. If I'm not mistaken, I think Harmon last year was almost considered a safety too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's position flexibility in this. And this is, hey, when you get good, you got to go get good players. And I feel like Coach Inge is in a position right now to go get one of his next award winners at this linebacker group out of this last cluster of 5 that he's gotten. Mm-hmm. I like this. I like this Braden Rouse.
I'm really impressed by William Inge.
Yes.
In every way.
You've met him, haven't you?
I haven't met him personally, but every time I hear him speak, I'm impressed. I think he is a really analytical and just smart football guy.
Very much so.
It seems like a really genuine dude, and that's the common thread in some of these linebackers that are committing to Tennessee right now. Like, he is really good at connecting with high school players in a way that you just want to be around him.
And that's the thing, too. Been around him a few times, so I have super cool, super chill, no fluff with him. He going to have a very exact conversation with you, and that's just that on that. You don't get a bunch of lies, and that's, I think when Coach Hyphen went to go get him, that was a part of it, too, is having somebody go get a closer, and he seems to me to be that type of guy, too.
I really like Tennessee's defensive coaching staff. I really do. I think there are some questions on offense.
Yeah.
I think Josh Heupel has done a really good job, and Tim Banks deserves credit in that too, has done a really good job with that defensive coaching staff, for sure.
Easily. It's
championship level.
It is.
It is.
And if they can figure out this offense the way they need to, dog, you in a different conversation.
I think that defense was championship level last season as a defense. You just ran into a buzzsaw that also stomped Oregon.
Yeah.
It was the number 1 team in the country on offense in Ohio State.
And the offense wasn't as explosive as you needed it to be.
Right.
100. That Braden Rouse pick, I'm telling you, he's going to be a star.
615-737-1045 is the number. Dominic making the point on YouTube. These commitments don't matter until they sign on the dotted line. That is true.
That's fair.
That's 100% accurate, but certainly a good note at this point. It seems like Braden Rouse is the type, though, and again, you never know. David Sanders, we thought, was this type, but then Florida with Ohio State at the very end. Seems like the type that's kind of shutting things down a little bit, but we'll see. You never know.
And also, let go of that BBS, man. We can have nice things.
Well, no, it's probably just somebody who cheers for another team that doesn't want Tennessee to have nice things. Which, if so, I respect the hating on a Wednesday morning in July. Coming up next, an ESPN analyst blasted the Titans' offensive skill players yesterday at ESPN.com. It begs the question, have the Titans given Cam Ward enough help on offense for his rookie season? We'll dive into what Bill Barnwell wrote at ESPN.com and if Cam has got what he needs coming up next.
It's Ramon and Will for Window Nation. Man, good people, you've been trying to stay cool this summer. I get it, but your windows aren't keeping the AC inside of your home. Window Nation can help you with that. With their energy-efficient replacement windows, your home will be comfy and cool for the rest of the summer. Better yet, Will, Window Nation is offering 50% off of all style windows and no interest to the year 2030.
That is right, Ramon. Until 2030. We love Window Nation for a lot of reasons, right? A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. You get a 50-point inspection of every window before it leaves the factory, a 20-point inspection of every window when it is installed. This offer is fantastic. You need to head online to windownation.com. 866-90-NATION is the number to call. This sale is going to end soon. Don't miss out. This is Window Nation's best sale of the year. Schedule a fast, free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation. Online at windownation.com. Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friends at Lee Company. Do you have a plumbing issue at home? Well, hey, whether it is a leaky faucet, a clogged drain, maybe it's just that water heater that has gone cold. Hey, no matter how hot it is outside, cold showers still don't feel great, right? Even when it's this hot in Middle Tennessee. Well, make sure the plumbing professionals at Lee Company have your back. Available 24/7 year-round, Lee Company's licensed technicians can save you time, money, and all the stresses that come with an ill-timed plumbing issue. Contact their award-winning team at leecompany.com. You can call them at 615-567-1000. I love working with Lee Company as a local business that has been in business for over 80 years here in Middle Tennessee. Check them out online, leecompany.com. 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company, all you need. Wednesday morning on Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins. We stream the show live on 104.5 The Zone TV for you. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Bill Barnwell is ranking the best to worst offensive playmakers per team in the NFL, Ramon Foster. All running back, wide receiver, and tight end talent. All he's looking at.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans are number 32 on this list with the supporting cast for Cam Ward. Bill Barnwell, ESPN.com, does great work there.
Yeah.
Says the Titans last season were 19th in terms of best supporting cast. In 2023, ranking them 29th. And this season, number 32. The reasoning, before we get into whether or not we agree with this. Bill Barnwell writing, Tony Pollard looked better than he did while recovering from a fractured fibula with the Cowboys in 2023. I don't even think I agree with that, to be quite honest with you, because the second half of that season, Tony Pollard was outstanding. Anyway, but Tennessee's lead back ranked 20th out of 23 players with at least 200 carries in success rate. The receiving efficiency Pollard showed in Dallas before the injury didn't come back either, as he often was reduced to a safety valve. Bill Barnwell at ESPN.com writing, Tajay Spears had a better success rate, but virtually no explosiveness. Just 2 of Spears' 84 carries went for more than 12 yards. The hope will have to be that an improved offensive line and another year under legendary assistant coach Bill Callahan will unlock the run game. Let's pause there for a moment, Ramon. Bill Barnwell not thinking very highly of Titans running back duo Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. Fair assessment there, or is he getting a little too analytical for you?
From the, I guess, 30,000 foot view of it, as an outsider, I would say, yeah, I think that's very fair. People are still, I think, at this point associating Tony Pollard with what the Dallas success was. We just heard him say that, number one. Last year, looking at this team be the number 1 overall pick, which tells us you're the worst team in the NFL. You got, I feel like the way people viewed what Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears did last year as they just allowed you to run those yards. That's the best that you could have done, to be quite honest with you. Other than Calvin Ridley getting 1,000 yards at the last game of the season, I think that, Will, is probably as fair as you get because, again, the facts tell us this was the number 1 overall pick when it comes to where the Titans slotted to pick.
Sure.
There was no trade up.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
it sucks, but I agree.
I think, too, with Tony Pollard, those of us who were here and know how much he battled through just to get on the field week in and week out, and how much the entire offense was kind of put on his shoulders, it is easy to understand why the success rate and the efficiency numbers were so poor. I mean, heck, this is the same offensive line, a similar offensive line that had Derrick Henry ranked the 9th best running back in the NFL after the 2023 season. And then when he went to a good supporting cast in Baltimore, he became then the number 2 running back on ESPN.com's list of top 10 running backs in the NFL. So efficiency has been lacking considering the quarterback play that you have had to complement the run game here.
And then the other side of it, though, too, as far as Tony Pollard's concerned, I do think this. A lot of your reputation goes into, like, do people fear you? And I think when folks probably look at Tony Pollard, other than the fact that he's getting about $7 million a year, you probably wouldn't know that he was one of those guys, because the idea of him fearing you, I think, was brought because Zeke a little bit early on. Then you recognize, oh, wow, that is Tony Pollard, maybe the better back. And then the branding of it too, Will. Like, to your point, you've consistently brought that up, the Titans tax. The respect that others get, you're not going to get here. And I think when you look at the way the season unfolded and what his production was, like, we know that he's a tough guy. We know what he endured to make it to Sundays and stuff like that. But here's the other part of it. I always tell people, nobody cares about your aches and pains when you weren't out there on that field. That's the other side of Tony Pollard's, I guess, legend that nobody knows about. He was banged up in a bad way. But it don't matter to the people that's not here.
So that is the running back part of what Bill Barnwell writes at ESPN.com. He goes on to add, number 1 pick Cam Ward's group of receivers are well-seasoned. Tyler Lockett at 32 was a cap casualty in Seattle whose numbers were way down during his final year with the Seahawks. He joins to link up with 30-year-old Calvin Ridley, who is better moving around the formation in Tennessee after being trapped on the outside in Jacksonville. But he dropped 7 passes and wasn't always the reliable target a struggling group of quarterbacks needed. Van Jefferson, a second-round pick in 2020, might be valued for his blocking and professionalism, but he has averaged 0.7 yards per route run over the past 2 seasons. This feels like a group where there could be 3 new starters in 2026. Thoughts?
Yeah, on that one. I think with the way we viewed this offseason is the exact same way, too. Like, I don't think there's a lie in that. But here's what I will say. I think it's almost unfair a little bit to the group, especially the ones that were here. I'll say it's unfair to Calvin. Calvin had bad quarterback play in an offense all last year. I think what Cam Ward sees in him is what he's praising him for right now, preaching about how great of a wide receiver he is. The long in the tooth stuff, the age part of it, for 1 year, you can make it work. 1 year, you can make it work. This list can change by one person going into this next year, and it's Cam Ward. It is Cameron Ward. I'm a firm believer. This is why wide receivers, tight ends are divas. It's because your career, your success, your perception of what you are is based upon the quarterback. So when you see them acting out, cursing, throwing tantrums and stuff like that,
sure,
it's because of this. Is Calvin really a 32nd ranked wide receiver in this list? I think he's probably somewhere in the middle with what you're asking him to do. But when you got bad quarterback play, and Pittsburgh had it last year for Van Jefferson also, and whatever Tyler Lockett problem was in Seattle can be fixed in 1 year is what I would say. It's unfair sometimes because of the quarterback play in the offense.
And right, Tyler Lockett's numbers being down, he didn't go off a cliff last season. Like, the thing about Tyler Lockett that still gives me hope that he can be a legitimate part of this offense is he is not the type of receiver that has relied on breakaway speed.
That's true.
And just being bigger and faster and then losing that late in his career. Like, guys like Amari Cooper and Julio Jones, who are just athletic freaks, who are specimens. And don't get me wrong, those guys are great route runners too. But when they lose that athletic edge, it's like, oh, crap. I lost the thing I was world class at, and now it's harder for me to do my job. Tyler Lockett has always had to make up, with all due respect to him, some athletic gaps in his career. I think he would admit that. Like, there are defensive backs that he has gotten and he has schooled that might be bigger, faster, and stronger. But that's why the NFL Combine is the Combine, and the NFL is a game. Yeah. You have to actually go play the football. It's not always about who is bigger, stronger, and faster. Tyler Lockett has made a career out of the nuances of playing the wide receiver position. You don't just forget how to do that.
No.
Maybe you lose some of your quickness. Maybe you lose your separation ability, and that's why Father Time is obviously still undefeated. But if there is a type of receiver that can still be effective and productive into their early to mid-30s, it is the type of wide receiver that Tyler Lockett is.
No doubt. And the other side of this, too, as far as the Titans being ranked 32 as far as the skill set goes or the people that they have inside this building is this. A better called offense efficiently would do a whole lot of justice to this group. Because immediately when you're speaking about Tyler Lockett and what you're asking him to do, Will, I'm talking about from hash to hash. I'm talking about from tight end to tackle. That's his box. Be the guy across the middle, or if you need him in the comeback, like you, I will say, I think the challenge is bigger for Coach Brian Callahan and Nick Holtz this year because they got to be able to facilitate these guys in positions to be more successful because of a rookie quarterback and because it is, 3-4 new guys on this offense that's got to learn from a new quarterback too. He's got a bigger job this year into turning this around.
Final blurb from Bill Barnwell as he ranks the Titans wide receiver, tight end, and running back groups, number 32 out of 32 in the NFL. Bill writes, rookie fourth-rounder Elikiah Manor has the upside to push for a starting role and a leg up on a division rival. His best game at Stanford came in 2023 when a fair amount of his 294 receiving yards came past, over, and through Colorado corner Travis Hunter, who will see Aya Manor twice a year with the Jaguars. Is Elikiah Manor a bigger part of this offense or Chimere DK to start?
Probably Aya Manor. I think his style is ready to go. I look at his situation the way I viewed Antonio Brown's Emmanuel Sanders' career in Pittsburgh. Emmanuel Sanders was a great route runner. He was good with the ball in his hand. AB was a guy that had to become explosive and catch your eye. And I feel like that's going to be Tim DK's role moving forward. If you can legitimately flash on the film, that's going to get him more. But I feel like as far as the route runner, Alec Ayamaner is probably the guy that's going to get the first nod.
I think so too. And I feel like Ayamaner flashed more to me during OTAs and minicamp than DK did. I mean, it's not time to really be worried or take major observations away from what guys look like in June. What really will matter is what happens in preseason games and joint practices and training camp and all of those things. But Ayamaner looked more like a guy that I have no idea why he fell as far as he did.
I agree.
You watch him practice.
I agree.
You watch him move, you watch him play the position, and you just think, like, why in the world did the Titans have the opportunity to pick him in the 4th round? He looks the part in a significant way. He really, really looks the part. And that's no slight on DK. DK, I think, has a level of explosiveness and speed and as a deep threat. I love what Chimere DK can be for this offense. Where does Cam Ward make his money at quarterback? Deep crossing routes over the middle. Between the hash marks, 15 to 20 yards downfield is where Cam Ward was the best quarterback in college football last year, bar none. Yep. So I love that potential. He just hasn't shown us, I think, what he can be, DK, as quickly as Ayamaner has.
Because to your point about like figuring out what this offense is going to be, how you going to highlight Cam Ward's best points as far as his ability to throw the football. To me, Chim DK has to be a guy that really embraces the one-trick pony mindset.
Michael on YouTube says DK needs to be Khalif Raymond. Honestly,
Mike Wallace.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Khalif Raymond at his peak for the Titans. If Chim DK is Khalif Raymond for his rookie season, I'm all right with that.
Throw your hand up.
A deep threat slot receiver who can return punts.
We were going down the same thought pattern right there. He needs to be a one-trick pony, whether that's the transcontinentals that Coach Mack speak of, or just a deep threat down the field. Look, if he gets 5 of those, 3 of them, catch me 3. Or give me a DPI against the DB in those moments right there. Be smart around the football.
For Ayamaner and DK, is a 500-yard season solid for you? Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think so. Getting there with
for
the vets
day
that they have
3
in front
rookies?
of them, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
If I will say, though, if Alec Ayamaner turns into a guy like 600 to 800, that might be pushing it. I like his catch radius more. His ability to go up and get the ball, come back to the ball. So I think he's more NFL ready from what I've seen in college and the minicamp.
I think it's just going to be interesting where they play Tyler Lockett. Scooby asked that on Twitter, says, if these young receivers cannot beat out Lockett, what does that say about the rookies? Well, I just think it also has to say something about Tyler Lockett's productivity.
Yeah.
Like, is Tyler Lockett this year's version of Jamal Adams? Or is he this year's version of an offensive Sebastian Joseph Day type?
Seriously.
A type that you bring in on a short 1-year contract that can be productive and be a leader and give you 500 to 700 yards?
Yeah.
Or is he more kind of like, unfortunately, what Tyler Boyd was last year, a guy that just doesn't really have the level of productivity that you expected? A lot of that just has to do with Cam Ward. It's hard to say, like, what does it say about the rookies if they can't beat Tyler Lockett? Like, well, how comfortable is Cam Ward throwing to Tyler Lockett? Yeah. How comfortable is Cam Ward throwing to Xavier Estrepo or Chim DK or Alec Ayamaner? Like, there's a Cam Ward element of this, too, that, like, I can't answer that question because until I watch, like, why are they not beating out Tyler Lockett? Is it Cam Ward's fault? Is it Lockett's fault? Is Lockett hurt? Like, I can't answer that.
And to be quite honest, like, I don't think as much that we can answer, predict this year in general, because you don't, the commodity that you have at running back isn't overly unique. And I say that with respect to Tony. And also, like, I don't think it is overly unique. Like, it's good. What I mean by that is not Derek. It's not Saquon. It's not one of those guys you can say, yeah, just give him the ball, he's going to go. Stuff up front has to work, and then those dudes got to work too. What I'm getting at is this. This may be the most blind that we've ever since I've been here covering this team. The most blind I feel like anybody has ever been as far as predicting what this offense is going to be. You knew somewhat last year Levis is going to try to go deep, right? You figured he would go to D-Hop from time to time. You saw Chig. I don't know what the role of any of these guys is going to be this year.
Yeah, it's fair. I think the only inclination we have about what this offense is going to be is watching Miami play last year.
That's it.
Because Brian Callahan has said we want this to kind of be the same way for Joe Burrow. This was year 3 at LSU. This kind of wants to be year 2 for Cam Ward at Miami, system-wise. Duck on YouTube says, respectfully, Khalif Raymond didn't do that much. The Raymond in Detroit is a problem. Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
A more productive version of what Khalif Raymond was as a Titan when he had in 2019 170 yards and a touchdown, but 18.9 yards per reception, and he had that long of 52 yards against Indy, I believe, in Indy, where the Titans won many of those games at Indianapolis. But in Detroit, Khalif Raymond, 2021, 48 catches on 71 targets for 576 yards and 4 touchdowns, a long of 75 yards. That's Chim DK.
Yeah.
That's what you want Chimray DK to be. It begs the question, Ramon, if the Titans, according to Bill Barnwell, and from what we're talking about, we can't really argue many of these points. If the Titans have the worst group of running back, wide receivers, and tight ends, have they given Cam Ward enough help for 2025? We'll answer that for you coming up next. Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling. If you are headed to the beach or pool this summer, you may benefit from water-resistant hearing aids. And maybe it's not you. Maybe I'm talking about a family member. I said the words hearing aids, and you thought, yep, that one relative that just doesn't quite hear as well as maybe they used to. Maybe I am describing you, and you don't want to admit it. Maybe all the people around you have been telling you. It's probably time to go ahead and take care of this. I don't want to keep repeating myself every time we're having a conversation. I want to introduce you to my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center because their doctors of audiology have the latest hearing device technology, and that includes a water-resistant hearing aid that helps you hear in those summer situations you find yourself in. You're at that outdoor wedding. You're in a crowded restaurant sitting out on the patio. Maybe you're splashing around in the pool with the kids, the grandkids, and you're just finding it difficult to hear them. Brentwood Hearing Center, remember this phone number, 615-377-0420. The best technology, the best service, and they're going to take care of you. Online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. They will tailor a specific hearing solution to meet your needs. 615-377-0420. Online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Brentwood Hearing Center, better hearing, better life.
When couples walk into Genesis Diamonds, their eyes get so big. It's a mind-blowing display of sparkling jewelry with literally thousands of choices when it comes to engagement rings. All the styles she's seen online are right there. But the experts at Genesis make them feel totally at ease. They're offered a beverage when you walk in. They're asked a lot of questions about their taste and style. They are given a no-holds-barred education. They are even told the secrets of the jewelry business, too. The consultants at Genesis are not on commission. They are not retail clerks. They are not transaction-focused. But they can spend 30 minutes with you, or they can spend up to 3 hours with you. It doesn't matter. You can see dozens and dozens of diamonds in an array of sizes and shapes and color grades. You can see handcrafted rings from all the top designers that other stores aren't even allowed to carry. You can see the difference between a diamond that is properly cut and one you might see on one of those online places. The difference will blow you away. Bottom line, Genesis will take away all the risk, all the mystery, all the confusion, and help you make a decision that you will be confident in for years to come. Genesis Diamonds, a true direct importer with rock bottom prices and a luxury experience. No compromises at Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ramon Will, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. 615-737-1045. As we wrap up the first half of the show, Rhett Bryan coming up at 9 this morning in studio. So, Ramon, Bill Barnwell says the Titans have the worst running back, wide receiver, tight end group in the NFL. Begs the question, have they given Cam Ward enough help for his rookie season?
Have they given him enough help? Yeah, for one particular reason.
What's that?
The offensive line. Yeah. Looking at this group, if Dan Moore handles his business, right, that's the biggest question. You can keep Zeitler.
Huge question.
You can keep Zeitler healthy, too.
Kevin Zeitler, your right guard.
He's a seasoned guy, and if JC can make those changes. But we think that body of group, that group of people are better than they were last year. I think because of those four guys and the depth that they're trying to build around them, I say, yeah. What Cam Ward does with the ball, these guys that Bill Barnwell has said aren't that good, I put pressure on the quarterback to make him better, too. If he's the number one overall talent that we think he is, if he's a guy that has the ability to change a franchise, which is what you do when you draft the number one overall pick, the one thing that he needs is protection. Ain't no other way around it. If he can figure that out and navigate the pocket, Will, I say yes. I think they've done enough so far. This is one of the better made up offensive line groups within 1 year I can say you can have. And with how many of them being your homegrown guys? Well, with JC and JC and Peter being your homegrown guys.
I think Bill Barnwell is misunderstanding who is going to be playing critical roles for this offense is the problem here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see them relying on Van Jefferson to be a super productive wide receiver.
Yeah.
I see Van Jefferson as a leader in that room, as a guy that you know what you're going to get in a room full of younger guys. But I see Chim DK and Elikai Manor as day one contributors. And there's not even a mention of Chimray DK in here. I think that's missing the mark from Bill.
Yeah.
And locally, I don't blame him. Like, Bill does great work. He's from the national perspective. He's putting this together for what's on paper. From what we've seen, from what we've watched of this offense, and from what we know about how they want to deploy Chimray DK in the system, Chimray DK is going to have a major role to be played. So I think that's kind of the first area of this that matters. I also think that they have two pretty decent running backs who just have to stay healthy, playing behind an offensive line that hopefully allows them to.
Yeah.
Like, I think for what Tony Pollard was last year and the lack of pass game that he had to complement what he was doing in the run game, I thought Tony Pollard was pretty good last year. And I think when you look at the success rate and you look at the numbers, there was a very low ceiling of statistically what Tony Pollard could contribute to the Titans offense with the quarterback play that you had between Will Levis and Mason Rudolph.
No doubt.
There was nothing that made you respect the Titans pass game to push those safeties back a little bit and give Tony Pollard any kind of avenue to run behind an offensive line that wasn't really good at paving the way to begin with.
Exactly. It was predictable.
Like, what else did you really expect?
And that's what I mean by, like, legitimately having a guy that strikes fear into the opposing defense. Like, I think the disrespect that this Titans this Titans team has gotten by Bill Barnwell is justified because, again, you look at the idea of fear. Walking into stadiums, that's one thing you hear guys always say about their guy. I was looking at that quarterback documentary on Netflix, and it was Spagnuolo who was speaking to Joe Burrow, and it was a fascinating exchange between the two. He said, "Hey, besides our guy, you're the best guy in the business," and all that was is Spag saying, "I fear the hell out of you." Okay, but we got the better guy on our team right now. There's nothing better. And that, to me, is where I think the X factor and settling or figuring out what takes this team to the next level. And it has to be the ball spinning out of Cam Ward's hands. There is no other way around it. You've changed almost every single thing you've thought of. You've attempted to ride Derek to a championship. That didn't happen because you didn't have the quarterback in Tannehill. As strong of a supporter I am of like offensive linemen and tight ends, and nobody gets the job done like a quarterback. And I guess that's why this fan base has been salivating for a guy like Cam Ward. I guess this is why this team chose to stick and pick and not take the deal that the Giants were offering them on draft night is because when you got your guy, that guy elevates everybody around him. And that, to me, is a lot of pressure for a guy like Cam Ward. It's a lot of pressure for any quarterback. But when you have this team that's looking to crawl up out of the dungeons of NFL football and be current in history, Cam's got a huge test in front of him. And I'll say this, it mostly does fall on him. They got to go draft well. The coaches got to do their thing. But it falls on the quarterback more than anything. I'm listening. I mean, again, that quarterback series on Netflix is pretty good. It was Dan Campbell and Jared Goff's conversation.
Right.
And Dan Campbell, I think, is a solid coach. I think he's a really good motivator. But I don't think they get that far without the steadiness and the progress that Jared Goff has made as a quarterback.
When you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, you expect them to take players from good to great who are on offense with you.
Yeah.
It is why you see teams like Kansas City, like Buffalo, heck, even like Minnesota, who will rely on their quarterback to elevate younger, cheaper targets and get rid of top targets. The way Kansas City got rid of Tyreek Hill, the way Minnesota got rid of Stephon Diggs, the way Buffalo got rid of Stephon Diggs. Because they trusted the scheme and the quarterback play to make it work with guys who are a little bit off the radar. I have no issue with the supporting cast the Titans have given Cam Ward for 2 reasons. First of all, look at the money they're spending on the number 1 receiver and the number 1 running back, and the left tackle, and the right guard. Like, a lot of money and a lot of dollars have been invested in giving Cam Ward a supporting cast. But secondly, look at all the other needs they have. You can't fix it all in one offseason, and they still haven't fixed it all.
Right.
Edge rusher is a major question mark on this defense right now. I think they know that.
Yeah.
Titans organization, the front office knows that, but they also know that it's worth not spending money that they don't feel like is worthy of investing in a guy that they're not willing to invest money in. I'd rather do that than just go throw a inflated contract to somebody that you don't actually believe in just to have a guy, just to have a body.
No.
So that's the other thing in this, but I can't really criticize them for the supporting cast they've given Cam Ward when they have so many other needs to address in the defensive secondary, at inside linebacker, at safety, at edge rusher, at defensive line, because there are a lot of holes in this ship that need to be plugged before we can really feel like we are sailing towards competitive.
I agree. 100%. I like the idea of racing to the finish line, but this is a slow crawl.
Yep.
Especially if you believe in Cameron Ward for the long haul.
Right. 615-737-1045. Headlines to begin hour number 3. We've got a coach in college football throwing a major shot at one of his former employers and also his alma mater. Plus, Nashville SC back on the pitch tonight. We'll tell you what you need to know about that as well. Coming up next. Everyone wants to move to Nashville, but that does not mean it is easy to sell your home. You need an experienced realtor. You need someone that you can trust. You don't need that national agent that's got some area code that is hundreds of miles away. From Middle Tennessee, you need my friend Bernie Gallerani. Bernie guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. Yeah, that's right. No risk to you. Bernie Gallerani will let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent who has the 30-day guarantee to sell your home. And if not, he'll buy it from you. So if you're ready to sell your home, start by knowing its true value. Bernie Gallerani's home value estimator is fast, free, and easy. Just go online, BernieGallerani.com. The website, great. And that is where you can learn about exactly what your home is worth. Understand everything about the market. And Bernie is so confident about how he can help you. He's going to give you his personal cell phone number. It's got a 615 number, 615-428-2644, online at BernieGallerani.com. That's 615-428-2644.
If you've been struggling to choose where to go to for TRT, look no further than Synergex and Low T Center, okay? The new Synergex Health app is a superior innovation in healthcare technology that you won't find anywhere else. With this app, you can book appointments, view your lab results, have face-to-face telehealth visits, receive medication reminders, order your supplements, pre-check-in to the visits, and more. It's taking control of your health like you've never done before, okay? All you need to do is book an appointment or walk into the Synergex LOT Center before 10 a.m. The test is simple, and it only takes about 20 minutes also to get your results. Once you qualify, you can start your treatment the exact same day, okay? There's no better time to start TRT with Synergex and LOT after they're offering you the free test. Again, man, go ahead and get your health in order today. Visit lowtcenter.com or download the Synergex Health app or book an appointment today again at fixmylowt.com. That is fixmylowt.com.
Just before 8:02, good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Vols football, they continue to bolster the defense as they land 2 more commits yesterday. And 4-star linebacker Braden Rouse, the number 7 linebacker in the country, he chose Tennessee over Michigan, Texas, and Alabama. The Vols also landed 3-star in-state cornerback from Jackson, Tennessee, Javonte Smith, who chose the Vols over Arkansas, Missouri, and West Virginia as well. Tonight, Nashville SC, they're back on the pitch as they seek their 15th straight unbeaten result and 2nd straight win over DC United in the last 10 days as they host the nation's capital side at Geodis Park in the quarterfinal of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup tonight. First kick is at 8 p.m. And in the NHL yesterday, the NHL Board of Governors and NHLPA have agreed to a new CBA that will start in 2026 season and extend through 2030. And the new CBA, it will include an 84-game season, up from 82 games, which has been in place since 1990. The full details of the new CBA will be released at a later date. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramon Will at 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. 615-737-1045 is the number, and we stream the show live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Halfway home, Ramon Foster.
Yeah. We're there. It was quick, half, too.
How about Scott Frost yesterday, the head coach at UCF at Big 12 Media Days? There's a lot to unpack there. Big 12 Media Days, UCF, Scott Frost is back. All right. Again, just to reset that for the people that had their heads also in a mental pretzel there for a moment. Was asked about what he learned from his time at Nebraska, Ramon.
Yeah.
He said, don't take the wrong job.
That's tough.
That's his alma mater.
That's tough.
That he's talking about. Chris Vannetti with the quote from The Athletic saying, I said I wouldn't leave UCF unless it was someplace you could win a national championship. I got tugged in a direction to try to help my alma mater and didn't really want to do it. It wasn't a good move. I'm lucky to get back to a place where I was a lot happier. Oof. Tough. For Scott Frost, who obviously was not good at Nebraska. 16-31, 10-26 in Big Ten play, and now he is back in the Big 12 at Central Florida.
Yeah, that's dicey right there. He said that quick too, Will. There wasn't even any thought behind that type of answer. I wonder who got in his way also, if that's the case, because you're going back home. These people want you back too. After the year that he had at UCF, like, he is one of those types of guys I felt like that was meant to be at the university, but it's also a cautionary tale to the fans too. Sometimes, like, that old thing, just leave it alone. There's no need to revisit the alumni being the coach of this said group and bring this guy in for the best ideas. I feel like, of course, and it's you make mistakes in how you hire people, but Coach Former hiring Jeremy Pruitt. Pruitt was one of the worst things that happened to the university. And, of course, you have the university's mindset. I mean, it's interest in the best way possible for it, but you need outside eyes sometimes. You need less emotions. Right. And hearing Scott Frost say that, man, is mind-blowing.
Something that is still crazy to me from the Big 12, and our friend Bill Connolly put this out yesterday, too. I thought it was a great point. Brett Yormark, the director of the Big 12 and commissioner, says the Big 12 scrapped preseason conference media polls because Arizona State was picked 16th last year, and that hurt them throughout the season, a perception thing, saying this was a football-only decision. And then Bill Connolly quoted that from Chris Vannetti and said, pretty sure losing to Texas Tech and Cincinnati and barely beating Mississippi State and Texas State hurt them. Yeah. But that's just me. Yeah, there's no evidence that a preseason poll really impacts a playoff resume.
No.
Like, do you think a preseason poll hurt Indiana last year?
I was going to say Indiana.
Indiana took care of business last year.
I mean, right now, Illinois is in one of those conversations, right? I mean,
we're about to do that coming up in 15 minutes.
Exactly. So, that is quite fascinating to hear him be that way. Big 12, though, man. I heard just throwing shots. Like they had a mouthy little conference meeting yesterday, though, man. Super mouthy. It was.
I mean, you got to do something to stay relevant, right?
No, you have to, man. They're throwing shots like none other. It was very fascinating to read through some of the stuff that they were saying and doing. Of course, the revenue sharing. I looked at this like they're doing a lot of snitching. They're doing a lot of snitching and a lot of outing of what everybody else is doing besides them. So, to your point, they got to do something to keep it relevant, man. And they're not even shy about who they're competing with, too. They bring up SEC and Big Ten often.
Right. They do. No doubt about it. Hard not to, though, when the SEC and Big Ten are essentially the commissioners of the league in their own conference commissioners.
Yeah. But it also it shows you, too, just like how far like the Big 12 has fallen in a sense. Like, with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, that was problematic. Right now, I feel like the belle of the ball for them is Arizona State.
Arizona State,
Texas
Colorado,
Tech.
Kansas State, Texas Tech. There's a lot of potential in that conference this year. I'm not sure there is one elite team. I see 6 or 7 teams, Ramon, that could make a run to win that conference.
Yeah.
Colorado, of course, with what they have going on and Caden Salter going out there.
Right.
You have, obviously, Arizona State, who won the league last year and was seconds away from beating Texas in a playoff quarterfinal. But Kansas feels like they bring a lot back. Kansas State, one of the most electric running backs in college football. For them, a cheat code on the new video game. Let me tell you what.
Are they really?
Absolutely. No, well, their running back is.
Oh, the running back is.
BYU, I know they just lost their quarterback and some interesting stuff off the field with Jake Retzlaff, but BYU is always there. I mean, Utah is a team that is always around.
Utah is.
Like, I legitimately see 6 or 7 teams that could make the college football playoff out of the Big 12 this year. It's going to be fun. And UCF with Scott Frost to be better.
Scott Frost, yeah. And again, I love his transparency and just speaking on what the business is like, though, too. I don't know what this second time around is going to be like for him at UCF, but he's definitely got a stronger appreciation, if that's the thing, to not go screw it up again. I bet his wife was mad at him. You make a decision like that, boy, that is you have to hear about that one for years, because any little moment come up, it's going to be like, I told you so.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't take the wrong job at your own university.
Tough.
Imagine.
Tonight at Geodis Park, 8 o'clock, the quarterfinal of the U.S. Open Cup for Nashville Soccer Club, taking on D.C., the second meeting in about 2 weeks between Nashville and D.C. United. This is independent of Major League Soccer, Ramon Foster, tonight. So if you want to go see a Nashville SC game, get good seats, have a little Wednesday night out. There is obviously no school going on right now. It's July 9th, not a school night because there is no school. 8 o'clock, Paramount Plus, where you can watch it. NSC and DC. Nashville, of course, is unbeaten in 14 straight games. They have not lost since losing in Seattle in mid-April. Out of the chaos and the fun that was Saturday night's win over Philadelphia and the wild penalty kick at the 11th minute of stoppage time. If you want to go see what all this stuff is about, after hearing about that win and watching that game Saturday night, well, you're in luck. You got a chance to do it tonight.
Yeah.
8 o'clock at home.
That's going to be awesome, man. Ani Mukhtar is going to end up playing in this one, too?
I actually don't know because this is a cup competition.
Yeah.
Nashville plays at Miami, so at Fort Lauderdale on Saturday against Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets in Miami, who just got back from the Club World Cup and back to MLS play. I have no idea what BJ Callahan's team will look like tonight because this is a competition Nashville wants to win.
Yeah.
But in cup competitions and in the U.S. Open Cup, you often give younger guys a chance. So I think we could see the teenager Matt Corcoran potentially get on the pitch tonight. I think we could see Walker Zimmerman make his return as he's back from the Gold Cup. He's been with the U.S. men's national team for the whole month of June. So he's been out since May 31st, hasn't played a second for Nashville in the whole month of June during this 4-game winning streak. And I think you could see Ahmed Qassem get back in, like a lot of different faces that could be in there. But also Nashville wants to win this competition and wants to win tonight. You just want to still manage the workload of some of your players because you have a game next Wednesday as well. So Nashville is in a week and a half span where they have 4 games.
Okay.
They played over the weekend against Philly, tonight against DC, Saturday against Miami, and then next Wednesday in the league against Columbus.
Wow. So with this,
which is a huge one.
With this Open Cup series that they're playing, like, what's the reasoning behind it? Because I'm looking at like the mid-season tournaments that the NBA and WNBA also have.
Exact
it's
same
more
thing.
Fan excitement,
Sure.
money.
Sure.
Also, this is a similar situation.
Money's certainly a part of it.
Okay.
And the prize pool is significant enough. It is the country's oldest national soccer competition. So the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup,
Yeah.
Lamar Hunt, Kansas City, Lamar Hunt Trophy is the AFC championship.
Right.
So the history behind that, since 1914, this has been the national championship, quote unquote, of American soccer. So this predates MLS by quite a large amount of years. Not every MLS team plays in it. I won't get into the weeds of who is and who isn't in the competition, but Nashville is not in Leagues Cup this year. They're not in the Champions Cup, which is kind of all of North America and a lot of the best teams. If they keep on the same path they're on right now, they'll likely be in it next year. But this is Nashville with a chance to win its first ever trophy.
Okay.
Nashville hasn't won MLS yet, haven't won the Supporter Shield, which is the top regular season team in MLS. You get a trophy for that. And hasn't won Leagues Cup, although they were in the 11th round of penalty kicks against Miami 2 summers ago. So it's just a chance to win something.
Okay.
Chance to make money, win something, and say that you won a trophy as a club, and that's significant in any sport, and certainly in soccer as well. So
I appreciate that. So this isn't a throwaway tournament. This is actually very significant.
It is significant. I mean, you often, sometimes teams will always put in their backup goalie for it.
Yeah.
And always have kind of a rotated team. But you get in the later part of the tournament, you start to put in more starters. Like my guess, I have no knowledge of what the lineup is or any of that tonight. My guess is that Hani Mukhtar will be available off the bench.
Okay.
And if this game is close with 20, 30 minutes left, he plays 20, 30 minutes.
Okay, all right. That makes sense because you talk about that many games within a week and a half. Like that's a lot of usage on the legs. Like no matter who you are, where you are as an athlete, like that recovery definitely matters.
And it's not going to be the same insane atmosphere you saw Saturday. I hope it's close to it. I hope that a lot of people can get out there. U.S. Open Cup, a little bit different just in terms of some of the crowds you get. I mean, Minnesota played last night and half their stadium was closed off. Like it's normal to have a different kind of crowd. So if you go tonight, like make it a great atmosphere. Let's make it as good as we can. But I think it will be more of a different kind of atmosphere. And I mean, if you got younger kids, you got a family that you want to take to the game, maybe this is a little bit less chaotic of a game to go to and a little bit more of a, easy stretch your legs and have room to kind of hang out and run around and all those things. But not to diminish the atmosphere that'll be there because I think it'll still be good.
No doubt.
It'll be fun. 8 o'clock tonight, the kickoff, a little bit of a later start. Paramount Plus, where you can watch it. Nashville SC, there is plenty of room for you to hop on the bandwagon. It's been so cool seeing so many people talk about it. 3HL was talking about it the other day, like you talked about. I know Joe Willis, Nashville keeper, was on the Buck Rising show yesterday. I've seen a ton of social media posts from people who've never talked about soccer who are buying in. It's been really, really cool to see people jump on board. It's been really, really fun.
No doubt.
Let's keep it going.
You've seen the MLS power rankings now. Nashville SC is the top.
Number 1. MLSsoccer.com has NSC as the number 1 team in MLS right now. So go see them. It's affordable. It's great food and drink. Easy to get in, get out, and a fun atmosphere tonight. We're looking forward to it. Should be good. Coming up, we'll talk some college football. Which team is most likely to make the college football playoff for the first time in their history this fall? Joel Klatt of Fox Sports had a take on this that I wholeheartedly agree with on a team that I think is this year's Indiana. We'll tell you who that is coming up next. Ramon Will on 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Who has the best chance to do what Tennessee did in 2025? Tennessee did it in 2024, of course, to make the college football playoff for the first time in their program's history. Joel Klatt brings this up. Hat tip to him for the topic, Ramon. And Joel, who I think does a good job, even though he sometimes feuds with Tennessee fans, but that's okay. So do a lot of people.
Yeah.
On programs that could make a jump this year. I think there is one that is going to be this year's Indiana. We're going to get to what he had to say on his podcast and all of those things coming up. Ramon, when I asked this question, though, who jumps out to you first on the team that is most likely to be a first-time playoff team this season?
It's easy for me. I think it's probably the best answer. It's Ole Miss. Ole Miss with their quarterback, Austin Simmons. If he's slated to be the quarterback.
He is, yep.
A dual threat guy. You know Lane can draw it up. The offense has never been an issue. If he can get his defensive side of the ball, which they've put guys in the NFL as of late, to answer the call, I got Ole Miss making it in. And for this other specific reason, too. I feel some years, it's a championship run year. And I'll be quite honest with you. It's because of who you're playing.
Right.
You can check the box and say, yes. If we show up, yes. If we show up, yes. And just do that. There's a couple iffy games on their schedule, but in totality, Ole Miss could easily be a 10-2, 11-1 team, in my opinion, this year.
Yep.
LSU, that's one they got to worry about right there, but it's in Oxford this year, too. Georgia. All right, you lose once to Georgia. Vols lost to Georgia last year and still made it in, too, right?
Yeah, they got to go to Athens this year.
Exactly. That can get a little dicey for them. And then the get back in the Florida game.
Mm-hmm. Florida comes to Oxford.
Florida comes to Oxford. No slips anywhere else on this. Like, I'm slow a little bit on South Carolina.
Really?
Because I got to see, not really. I think Lenore Sellers is going to be that type of guy.
Sure.
I know the defensive end, the young fellow, what is his name? Dylan Stewart. I know he's that good, too. That's right. Two. Right? And they got to figure themselves out, too. And can Shane Beamer lead them?
Right. They got to replace Demetri Snyder, inside linebacker, too. That was a major part of that defense.
And they lost some defensive linemen.
They lost a lot of that front seven.
They did. So the replacement therapy that he has to do at the university. So it's two games to me. Well, I'd say Georgia. I think they get LSU. Ole Miss does. Just because Lane.
That's a swing game for both teams. That Ole Miss-LSU game, I think, is one of the more consequential games in the SEC schedule this season because the winner of that one probably feels pretty good about their playoff chances, considering there's no major slip-ups elsewhere and, LSU doesn't pull up Bama and lose at Vandy or something like that. But that is a tricky one for both teams that 100% are playoff or bust this year. LSU and Ole Miss are always playoff or bust programs, the way those programs have been built now at this point.
Is it a swing game, South Carolina, Ole Miss to you?
Absolutely.
It is still.
Absolutely.
Lenore Sellers, Dylan Stewart. Okay.
I think Austin Simmons is going to be really good. I am a believer. Maybe I am being too influenced by the one drive against Georgia last year. But Jackson Dart goes down early in that game against Georgia, and Austin Simmons did not just come in and hand it off a bunch of times. He ran the offense. And broadcasters talked all season when Austin Simmons would come in and say, hey, look, Lane loves this kid. And Lane Kiffin also loves transfer portal quarterbacks.
Talk about it, Will.
If Lane Kiffin felt like he needed a transfer portal quarterback, he would have gotten one.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't go get insurance, he got a backup from Ferris State, a starter at Ferris State, but a backup for him. I should have phrased that better. I feel like they got a lot of confidence in him. The question I have with Ole Miss is replacing the production of the front seven.
Okay.
Because Walter Nolan is gone, J.J. Pegues is gone, Princely Omamielen is gone, Jared Ivey is gone. I mean, they set a school record with 52 sacks last year. They led the nation with 120 tackles for loss. All but 10.5 sacks are gone. They bring back 10.5 of their 52 sacks last year. That's a major, major question mark.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss, to me, I still wonder, why was the offensive line not better last year? They brought in two members of the Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line from Washington, and they were very average in terms of SEC offensive line play last season. They were far too talented to be as bad as they were up front. So that's the question for Lane Kiffin. Can he get over the hump and be in the great tier of the SEC? He was one win over Florida away from being there. They were one game away from making the college football playoff, and they fumbled it. They intercepted it, literally. It got intercepted by Jackson Dart to Florida.
I ask this because I'm a less of a Lane Kiffin hater than I once was, but I still find moments.
Yeah, I would agree. Me too.
Is he more popular than he is good as a coach?
That's a good question.
Right, because even Joel Klatt at the end of his write up on him, he said, "I love taking a jab at him." Speaking of Lane, I love taking a jab at him at the end of the year, which he took in stride. We've texted and talked. Great dude, love Lane. Everybody's interaction with Lane Kiffin has been that, albeit Lane Kiffin hasn't done the big thing. He did it as an assistant, but he doesn't get credit for that. Well, he helped transform. Yeah. He helped transform Nick Saban. Mm-hmm. He hadn't led and ushered this himself.
Sure. I think the thing about Lane, you talk about he hasn't done the big thing. Getting Ole Miss to the doorstep of the playoff is a pretty big thing. Ole Miss is a hard place to win. That is not traditionally a top-tier SEC football program. It's probably a third-tier SEC football program. Yeah. When you talk about the top level of the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Texases, we'll throw in there now, Oklahoma, Tennessee, I would put either right on the bottom of the first tier or the top of the second tier. Florida, second-tier SEC program, solid. You have Auburn in that mix as well. Yeah. Georgia, traditionally a second-tier program, obviously right now a top of the top-tier program. Then is when you get the... Yeah, kind of have history, kind of good, kind of have a stadium that's a little loud. Like, Vaught Hemingway is not within the most intimidating atmospheres of the SEC. It's not Baton Rouge. I mean, obviously, I'm not naming all the tiers. Like, LSU is a top-tier SEC program, too, 100%. Ole Miss isn't that. So when you talk about what Lane Kiffin has done, you have to also then ask, well, what were the expectations for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss?
For him?
He has been a success at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin has.
Personally, he's been a success.
Absolutely, he has. Getting Ole Miss to a 9-10 win team consistently, where they feel like 9-3 was a disappointing year last year, is significant at that football program. So, not all expectations are created equally.
So I asked the question for Lane, and I'll answer it too.
Yeah.
If that's the case, it's fine for Ole Miss. It's the award of very good is what we sound like we're giving them right now. Is Lane Kiffin one phone call away from taking a bigger job somewhere else? Oklahoma?
It's such a good question. And for Ole Miss fans, I'd be curious, how satisfied are you with this success?
Yeah.
Because Lane Kiffin has brought you the best days that you've had, bar a couple of Hugh Freeze seasons, in a long, long time. Like, we're talking since Eli Manning and Arch Manning. But even, these teams are better than those Cutcliffe teams.
They are.
You just had Eli. So you've got a pretty dang good thing going on, but this is where the reset of expectations for programs hurts coaches and hurts success. Like 9 wins 4 years ago for Ole Miss. Heck yeah, all right. Feeling good about life again. Great. Mm-hmm. But then you start to consistently get 9 and 10 win seasons. Then you start to think about, well, can we get an 11-win season? Can we not be just satisfied with this? Like, that is where Tennessee is in the same discussion. Like, 2022 was an amazing year for Tennessee. It is hard to expect that to be the standard. Yeah. Unless your last name is Saban or Smart, 10 wins is not the standard for anybody. No. Or Ohio State, but Ohio State has a 2-game season. Respectfully.
Yeah.
Against Penn State and Michigan. I mean, honestly.
I know
the Big Ten's getting better, but a
10-2
in the Big Ten is not the same thing as a 10-2 in the SEC. And I don't care who's won the last 2 national championships.
You're fighting the same people every single year, too.
It's not the same depth of conference. It's getting better. The playing field's being leveled, but still. For me, it's Illinois, Ramon.
I love to hear this.
Illinois is this year's Indiana. And you look at what Indiana did last season in a very unbalanced Big Ten schedule. That conference is so big. Talk about a 2-game season.
18 teams.
Indiana had a 2-game season last year.
True, too.
And that's a little disrespectful to what Kurt Cignetti built and what they did in a really short amount of time. And I get that. But Illinois has a lot of production coming back. And they've got a quarterback that I think Tennessee wanted in Luke Altmaier.
Oh, yeah.
Who was at Ole Miss as well. Joel Klatt talked about this on his podcast, The Joel Klatt Show, saying Brett Bielema has built this team into what he wants. Physical, tough. They won against South Carolina in their bowl game. And granted, not all bowl games are created equally. Mm-hmm. That win that he had over South Carolina, there were 2 starting quarterbacks playing in that game. There were starters playing in that game. Guys weren't opting out at the same rate as they were in, let's say, the Pop-Tart Bowl.
That's true. And
things of that nature. Luke Altmaier back for his 3rd season. They had Hudson Clement, the wide receiver from West Virginia. James Thompson comes in on defense, 5 sacks for Wisconsin last year. Kurt Neal comes over from the Badgers as well. ESPN's Bill Connolly pointing this out. Only Clemson and Arizona State, Ramon, have more returning production than Illinois in FBS football this year. 76% of their production is back. Here's Joel Klatt on the Joel Klatt Show explaining why Illinois is this year's Indiana.
Brett Bielema has built this team into what he wants. Physical, tough. They win against South Carolina in the bowl game. They show the level that they can get to. 16 starters are back, 9 on offense, 7 on defense. Luke Altmaier is back for his 3rd season. We've seen what returning production, returning experience does, in particular at the quarterback position. Altmaier being back is huge. The entire offensive line is back in front of him. The question is at wide receiver. They added Hudson Clement from West Virginia. He had 11 for 166 and 2 touchdowns in his last game for West Virginia last year in the bowl game against Memphis, so the guy can play. The defense should be solid. Here's the schedule. They don't have to play Penn State, Oregon, or Michigan, and they get Ohio State at home. So of Big Ten schedules, they've got kind of like the Missouri-esque Big Ten schedule. I think they've hit the lottery in the Big Ten. Their first 2 big games at Indiana and then home against USC. Those are back-to-back weeks in September. So we're going to know a lot about Illinois early. Here's what benefits them is that they're so experienced. So they can handle early games, big games. Both USC and Indiana, maybe less so USC, but both are kind of breaking in new quarterbacks. I know Maeva got some time late last year, but new quarterbacks. Meanwhile, Art Myers in his 3rd year as a starter and gets to play in September as an experienced player in those big games. That's gigantic. Even if they don't beat Ohio State, their next biggest game is probably Washington on the road. Not saying that that's easy, but you can take an experienced team and win that game potentially. And even if they don't win that one at 10-2, I think that Illinois probably goes. This year's Indiana is Illinois, a team that their schedule is perfect, their roster is perfect, there is experience in the right places, and there is a guy at the helm. This case, Brett Bielema, knows exactly what he's doing.
That's Joel Klatt on the Joel Klatt Show, wherever you get your podcast. I think he's 100% right.
That's perfectly said.
100% right. It's the schedule, it's the experience, and it's when you play big games. Mm-hmm. At Indiana in week 4, at home against USC in week 5.
That's a dub. And then they got Ohio State and Illinois also. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a...
Ohio State week 7.
Is that week 7, right before the bye. So they win that one, go into or compete against that one.
And right after you play at Purdue, which basically is a bye.
Yeah, and then they go out. Well,
Purdue is one of the worst teams at FBS.
It's one
of the worst Power 4 teams at FBS, I should say.
You know what Joel Klatt brought up, and I continually say this from time to time, sometimes it's luck.
Well, it's when you play teams matters.
Facts.
100%.
100% that matters, man. Like, you can say, like, even the championship teams, I think, in the NFL, they benefit from either guys being out in big-time games or the scheduling that they have.
Right.
This is a cakewalk right here. Now, what they will have to do is battle Duke in a transfer portal quarterback that they have too at Duke. Now, they can't get caught slipping, I don't think, against Duke, or I would even throw in the Indiana game. If they can go out and put up a high amount of points early on in this season, I think they'll grab everybody's attention. And from that point right there, that's when Brett Bielema and his group's got to start cooking. Yep. By the way, that South Carolina, Shane Beamer and Brett Bielema beef that they had going on was phenomenal.
It was so much fun.
We need more of that.
We need more beefs in football.
Yeah, we do.
So Joel Klatt's entire list has the 2 teams that we both brought up as the top 2 teams.
Yeah.
It's Illinois. This year's Indiana, number 1 on this list. Ole Miss, 2nd. He's got South Carolina 3rd, most likely, to be a first-time playoff team. Miami, 4th. Then the rest of this list, Iowa, Missouri, USC, Kansas State, Florida, 9th on this list, and Nebraska. Now, I think it's important to also note that doesn't mean Florida is worse than Illinois.
Right.
It means that Illinois has a schedule that I think Florida might go 11-1 in. I mean, honestly, if you gave Florida Illinois' schedule, Western Illinois at Duke, Western Michigan, at Indiana, USC, at Purdue, home to Ohio State, at Washington, home to Rutgers, home to Maryland, at Wisconsin versus Northwestern, I'm giving you 10 wins for Florida in that schedule.
Easy.
10 wins.
This is why the Big Ten's conversation about the SEC holds hardly any weight. Like, I get it. Like, they've got the last 2 national champions, but
it's just so unbalanced. There's 18 teams in the conference.
What I'm saying.
These things are bound to happen.
It's a 2-team league with no real threats other than, it might get within 7 points.
I don't think it's fair to say it's a 2-team league. I just think when you have 18 teams in your league, I think it's a 4 or 5-team league at this point.
I'll throw Oregon in there.
I think Washington's going to be better this year.
You think so?
I think UCLA is going to be better. I think USC is definitely going to be better.
But as far as the scheduling goes, how many of these teams are going through the juggernaut of week in and week out saying we have to go?
They avoided Michigan, Penn State, and Oregon, Illinois on their schedule.
That's nuts.
The only championship contender that Illinois has to play this year is Ohio State at home.
It's Ohio State.
Yeah.
Period.
Unless you consider USC a championship contender, which I would not.
Number 10 on this list, he's got to show up to me. I ain't going to say he hasn't shown up because I'll be lying if I watched a lot of Nebraska football. But Dylan Raiola, this is a big
Baby
year.
Mahomes.
Baby Mahomes. I wonder did he change his haircut also? And did he also get fat shamed by the same guy that criticized Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, my Lord. We might have to play that at some point.
Nebraska, schedule-wise, is not crazy either this year. They avoid Ohio State, and they avoid Oregon, but they go to Penn State in November. So Penn State can complain about that probably being a noon game again. And then they host Michigan on September the 20th. But Nebraska, manageable schedule this year.
What sucks?
Very manageable schedule. They host USC, too.
What sucks is like UT doesn't play Texas this year, but you still got to see Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. You know what I'm saying? Like there's teams at like other sides of the ball,
and Tennessee's considered to have an easy SEC schedule comparatively this year,
which is insane.
And they play Alabama, Georgia, and Florida.
Yeah,
that's the way it goes.
But I'm choosing Lane on this one though, man. I will say that.
615-737-1045 is our number. All right, Ramon and I were talking earlier this week about high school coaches after the dead period. I came across a video yesterday from a local guy doing an impression of high school football coaches talking to their team after the dead period, and this is unbelievable. We're going to play you some hilarious audio from a local guy that I think is great on social media coming up next. Wednesday morning on Ramon and Will. We are fueled by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up in 15 minutes, Rhett Bryan in studio. Imminently. Here talking Titans. We're going to play a fun game with Rhett of Name That Titan, where I'm going to give, for example, when a player was signed by the Titans or drafted by the Titans, how many years he played here, maybe the conference he played in college, and if he played with Ramon or not. We're going to do that coming up in hour number 4 with Rhett Bryan this morning. I wanted to play you some audio, Ramon, because we were talking the other day about our favorite things that high school coaches are saying right now. The TSSAA dead period just came to an end. If you are on TikTok or on social media at all, you have probably seen Golf Shop Chris. From Hermitage Golf Course. Free shout out. We love Hermitage Golf Course. It is one of my favorite courses to play in all of Middle Tennessee. Very nice people. Course always in good shape. But their social media stuff is hilarious. And Chris is so funny. Well, Chris came up with my TikTok algorithm yesterday, Ramon.
Yeah.
Of it's for real now. And jokingly talking to a fake high school football team after dead period. This is Chris on TikTok yesterday. Listen to this.
Hey, I said eyes up here and quiet down. Quiet down. That's y'all's problem. You don't know when to be serious. That's part of the reason why I hate the dead period. I just practice all the way through because you leave and you go hang out with your girlfriends and you go to the beach. Hey, and we know you haven't done anything, right? We know you've sat around. Hey, it's for real now, right? This first day of camp. Hey, so all that 7-on-7 crap you've been doing, knock it off, right? Hey, because now it's for real. Right? Hey, Brandon, I've watched all that stuff on X. I've seen all that stuff on Instagram. Hey, I don't have anything on the play sheet today that says stand around for 13 seconds and throw it to the other team. Hey, but you look good doing it, right? You look good doing it. Hey, Roger, running around those routes. Hey, today we're going to put pads on and knock you down. Let's see if you can go do it. Hey, because some of y'all, you can play the flag football game. You can play the 7-on-7 game, but I don't know where you go when it goes 11-on-11. But today it's real, right? Today it's real. So you got locked back in for camp. You got locked back in. Hey, because your rival across town's doing it. I can promise you that. And I bet they didn't hang out and do all the stuff you did and have to restart and refocus. Right? Hey, because how this film session's gone and how you've acted this morning will dictate how we act out there.
Yeah.
Just going to be honest with you. Right? I'm just going to be honest with you. So I want to see us move from drill to drill to drill to drill, segment to segment to segment. I want inside. I want tackling circuit. I want it all to be physical. That's what I want today. Do you understand me? You got 10 minutes to get your pads on and go get ready.
Love it.
So good.
Love it.
So good.
You feel like the worst of the worst after
this
those
is
meetings
for real
right
now. Now it's for real.
Now it's for real.
There's nobody who hates girlfriends like high school sports coaches. Like hanging out with your girlfriends. If I had $1 for every time I heard you, hey, over here, you're not working, you're hanging out with your girlfriend.
Hanging out with your girlfriend.
Now it's for real.
And
Chris Pierce on TikTok. Shout out to him.
And they always got to bring up the rival school. Like nobody's worried. Coach, we got 5 weeks before we play them. But I bet you they're ready. I bet you they're worried about you right now. What have you been doing in your time off?
Bringing up the rival is the classic. Like, I bet they've been working. I bet they got together during the dead period as a team. That was the other one of like, y'all probably weren't getting together as a team. I know they were over there practicing. Coach don't always have to be here, but you can still get together and have a workout. We just can't be here. We'll unlock the doors for you.
Oh my!
If you want to go somewhere.
Oh my God!
So good.
That is good. This is for real now. We get to put pads on and separate the boys from the men.
Let's go segment to segment. I don't want to hear that talking. You got to know when to be serious. We'll be funny. We'll have a good time. We'll have a good time winning. All right?
That's what I was going to say.
You know what's fun? Winning games. That's what we're going to do this fall. So all that talking, no, we're going to be serious here. Practice field. We only get a certain amount of hours, men. That's what when they say men after the statement. That's what you know. Things are getting serious. Men, serious. We only get a certain amount of hours. I can be out here with you guys, all right? We got to take advantage of it, okay?
You know the biggest lie out there that coaches tell, especially in high school? There are no positions given out here. You got to earn it.
Right.
Coach, stop. I've been starting for 2 years now. I'm starting at right tackle this year. Coach, the quarterback's your son.
I'm not in a contract year. I got 2 more years of high school left. I'm still going to be here.
I'm the best recruiting player you got on this team right now, Coach. What are you talking about?
So good.
That or don't be last in the conditioning line. Oh, my God.
Right.
You can tell who worked.
Like, I bet y'all were at the beach. I bet you weren't running. Bet you weren't getting your lifts in.
I could tell who worked. Coach, I saw you on Instagram with a Bush Light.
You're maxing out 20 pounds lighter than you were before dead period. What happened, son? You're at the beach with your family. You're hanging out with your girlfriend. Playtime, the whole this is for real now is great. Like after the dead period, when you get back of like, no, lock in everybody.
The playtime is
so
over.
good. Anyway, Chris Pierce on TikTok, his videos at Hermitage, roasting people on social media are so funny.
When he's
so
telling
funny.
their tea time and everything. Yeah, that's pretty
so funny. Like, what's the course record? Just worry about getting off the tee box in one try, all right, buddy? All right, have a good day.
Have a good day.
So good.
That's good.
Anyway, I know 3HL and Brent Doherty do a lot of the just segments that made Brent laugh, and he'll just bring it, just something he found on the internet, and just play it. That's the gist I was going for this one.
What's hilarious, speaking of 3HL, Brent, by the way, he says a lot of stuff that I have to make sure I can say on air sometimes. Okay, one of them yesterday, since he said it, and I'm going to say it right now. Savage is taking meds. He's taking meds, pills, prescriptions for his pain to make it through rehab. Guess what Mayor said yesterday? Things that they do this bingo card of things that 3HL said.
Bingo, right.
He said, I think I'm getting a contact high from Ron. Mayor. Brent.
Brother. My brother in Christ. What are we talking about?
A fool. Right?
You just want an excuse to be acting crazy on
That's it. He's using
on a Tuesday.
He's using
to be off the rails.
Exactly, to be off the rails. Like, there's no such thing as a contact.
I did laugh out loud yesterday when Slay and Don agreed about something, talking about Alabama football and the expectations, and Slay agreed with Don, and Don goes, see, hi, Ron, agrees with me. Like,
oh, my God.
So funny.
That's one of the best things Mayor's ever said. I got
we love our 3HL teammates. We love all our zone teammates.
That was good.
Jamie's called in on the high school coach thing this morning. What's up, Jamie?
What up, Jamie?
What's up, guys? So I'm just going to keep this short. This is a locker room thing, maybe the day of the game or leading up to the game, but we were at a public school, and Coach loved playing against private schools to gas us up. And we're a little country school, and Coach used to say, those boys over there, their parents pay taxes that go to public school systems, but they think they're better than you, so they pay even more money so they don't have to go to school with kids like you. So he used to just gas us up, boy. We was ready to beat some private school kids.
I love it, Jamie. Thank you for the call. As someone who went to a private school, I know how it felt on the other side.
You heard the other side now?
Because we would hear a lot of, like, we just want the kids that walk through our doors.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's public school versus like the country school versus Memphis school was another one.
I'm just 15. I just go where I'm told.
God, you know they got better athletes over there. You just a bunch of country boys. That's how they look at you. A bunch of country boys. Oh my God. Jamie, that was good.
That's so funny.
Having a kid in a private school.
Pay taxes to not go there. It's crazy.
That's good.
That's funny. You've seen both sides of that now, too.
For real.
As a parent and as a player at Ripley.
Oh, my God.
How many of you play USJ in high school? Did you play any of those?
Did not play USJ. We played Briarcrest,
right.
Oh, my God.
Michael Orr.
Yes, that was another one of them. Like, look at them. They got better buses than you, better players than you. The weight room is killing you.
It's a motivating factor, right?
Oh, my God.
I love it.
Ours was the city schools. Like, you know, they just view y'all as a bunch of country boys. They got better athletes than y'all. They're faster. Oh, my God. They're tougher. Oh, my God.
I love it. 615-737-1045 as we wrap up hour number 3. Rhett Bryan talking about bubble guys with the best chances to make the roster in training camp. Plus, name that Titan with Rhett Bryan at hour 4 next.
602, 902, not 602. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. NBA news this morning per ESPN Shams Charania. The Oklahoma City Thunder have agreed to a fully guaranteed 5-year max rookie contract extension with power forward Chet Holmgren that could reach up to $250 million. The deal comes fresh off an NBA championship with Holmgren and OKC in June. Tennessee Vols football, they continue to bolster their roster on defense as they land 2 more commits yesterday for 2026. And 4-star linebacker Braden Rouse, the number 7 linebacker in the country, chose Tennessee over Michigan, Texas, and Alabama. The Vols also landed 3-star in-state cornerback from Jackson, Tennessee, Javonte Smith, who chose the Vols over Arkansas, Missouri, and West Virginia. Tonight, Nashville SC is back on the pitch as they seek for their 15th straight unbeaten result and 2nd straight win over DC United in the last 10 days in the quarterfinal of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup as they host the nation's capital side at Geodis Park. First kick is at 8 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the 4th and final hour, Wednesday morning, the 4th quarter on the show that plays its best ball in the 4th quarter. Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee. They are locally owned, and if you're listening to the sounds of our voices in Middle Tennessee, odds are you're close to one. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, Mount Juliet, Scooters Coffee, amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. We go into hour 4 amazingly quickly. On this Wednesday, I'm hunting wabbits. Amazing week, quick week. Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, joined by Rhett Bryan. What's up, Rhett?
Good morning. 2 weeks from today.
That's right. 14 days.
Almost there.
The Tetons of Tennessee.
Days. Football's back.
Will hit the practice field.
We are almost
Report
there.
2 weeks from yesterday. Practice 2 weeks from today.
American tackle football. That's right.
Yes.
That is what we're hearing.
Here we go.
I love it. I'm so excited. It'll be fun. Be out there, training camp. And before we know it, there'll be a practice at Nissan Stadium as well before the month is over.
There is. I saw
2 weeks from Saturday.
Was it released? I think was it yesterday? Tickets to.
Yeah, I think they opened up the window for you to be able to claim tickets for that, and I think for the training camp practices, the 6-7 dates they have there, but and they'll get grabbed up pretty quick, I would think.
Yeah,
for sure.
Just because, if for no other reason, Cam Ward.
No, that the main reason. And plus, it's one of them situations where you can be close to players, Rhett, too, to back up what you were saying, and get autographs potentially, and just hear and see hear the sounds of the whistles and everything else, too, is awesome.
The aesthetics are there, but there's a group of Titans fans that just want to go, okay, I've heard all you guys talking about these dudes all offseason. I need to go see some things myself.
Facts.
I want to. Let's just see what this is about. Let's see who's doing what. As Mac would say, who's who in the zoo.
Who's who in the zoo.
So there's a level of that, too. But you're right. I mean, look, it's a great way for fans to engage. I mean, how many people you see bringing their kids and they line up guys every time after practice of those things to get pictures and autographs. And, you know, you're normally not that close to the product. And so it's a way to engage.
It is,
Absolutely
which is
right.
why I've always loved the preseason games, too. It's because of those reasons. I mean, you get an opportunity to really be in it. It's still early. You still in grind mode, too. So you got, you know what I'm saying? Look, you can handle more on your plate that time of the year when the season kicks off. You don't want to hear too much of anything at that point or deal with too much of anything. So guys go in a different mode from preseason training camp throughout the season.
For sure.
Yeah, I would imagine that you guys, when it comes to week one and just everything that follows, you guys are like thoroughbred horses, and you're waiting for that gun to go off and the gates to open, and you have the blinders on. Yeah, like you are ready to go,
It's-
and you don't want to know anything else but let's get to the finish line.
No, that is it, Rhett. Because it's a week-to-week grind. It's so many different moving parts. It's the day-to-day living that you also have inside that. Like, you don't have class, but most guys have families or just different obligations outside of it. So you're right, like the side of like the blinders being put on is probably the best description of how you got to be when the season kicks off. Because good or bad, you still got to go do the job again, too.
And that's why they tell these fellas during the off-season program, young and old, new to the Titans, vets, whatever, handle all your business up front.
Yes.
Get somebody that's your point person for tickets and how you're going to handle that. All these things, because you cannot take your eyes off the prize.
No, cannot.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Rhett Bryan in studio with us here for, I'm very excited about a game we're going to play coming up in about 15, 20 minutes about Name That Titan. I've got 6 guys for Ramon and Rhett to guess who they are, and I will basically tell you around when they are drafted. Some of them I'll tell you the exact year and round. Some of them I'll just say mid-2010s and then give you other info about them, like where else they played in their careers or a specific stat they had in a certain season for the Titans and things like that. I have a bonus one that's just for Rhett at the end as well.
That's gonna be
I'll try
good.
to stump you with a old school Titan.
Nobody ever gets you,
we're
Rhett.
looking forward to that.
Stump the Schwab, stump the Rhett.
I'm going to try.
Okay.
I'm going to try my best.
I definitely want to see you try that.
So we'll do that coming up here in a
It
few
might be
minutes.
easier than what you're building it up
No,
to be. but
I don't know. I have no clue. I may have made these way too easy or way too hard. We're going to find out.
We'll
I
adjust.
Have no idea. But Rhett, before we get to that, wanted to get into some guys on the roster bubble with the best chance of making it. And we talk about the Xavier Restrepos, the Bryce Olivers from last year, Nick Westbrook-Akide when he first came in. On a team with as much turnover as the Titans have from a roster turnover perspective, there are opportunities for guys that we probably haven't even really dived in deep detail about. And there may be somebody we've not even discussed on this show who ends up making this roster with the amount of openings. When I talk about that and say roster bubble to you and the guys with the best chances of making it, where do you begin? What is the number 1 or 2 names that you go to directly to say, these are the guys that I think could be strong roster candidates on the outside looking in?
For the structure of this segment and what we're doing, I think we also add in the caveat of knowing that they have first dibs in the waiver wire position, and
Totally.
that is subject to change.
100%.
Because I honestly, Robert Walsh and I had a conversation about this, and Lucas Panzica just a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do we think the over-under is on different names from end of preseason roster to week 1 roster? And I said, it could be as many as 5 or 6 guys.
For sure.
Just because, listen, they're not committed, but to just a handful of the core people and everything else they're trying to improve. So with that in mind, I go to some of these undrafted fellas, and the first one that comes to mind is cornerback Jamari Harris from Iowa. 6'1", 191, 37-inch vert at the combine, 10 broad, arms 31 3/8, hands 9 3/4. Appeared in 42 games for the Hawkeyes, 105 tackles, 27 career starts, 19 pass breakups, 8 interceptions. Earned his stripes as a freshman on special teams. There's the key. There's the first key. Having a breakout year in 2021, he had 4 picks in his first 6 starts. Injured, ankle surgery, wiped out not only the rest of that 2021 season, but all of 2022. Successful return in 2023 with 8 pass breakups, 42 tackles, and a pick. Earned him Iowa's Comeback Player of the Year.
I trust an Iowa defensive back, too.
You have to.
How about Iowa players?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. They are a really
DBs
good
are
pro development
right.
program.
I mean, Kirk Ferentz, whatever he does up there, and the assistant coaches he has, it's almost like they're ready made for the product. You can automatically draw a line to all the tight ends, and there's plenty of those.
Sure.
But you look in the secondary. I mean, the Titans already have one who has done very well for himself in the middle of an extended contract in Amani Hooker.
Right.
For sure. For sure.
He does a good job, though. Like, seriously. Defensively, I know another guy that was on that list we looked at the Senior Bowl was Y.A. Black, was another one of those guys, a defensive lineman. So they have a history, to your point.
More roster bubble guys with a chance to make the roster with Rhett Bryan coming up, plus a game of Name That Titan with Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio in studio on Ramon and Will. Ramon Will at 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you, Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. If you're not playing Kenny Chesney in July, what are you doing? This is like Michael Bublé in December. Kenny Chesney is to July.
Well, the reason
summertime music.
The reason Jayhawk played that, because I kept singing it when we were meeting in the green room yesterday, because I was like, hey, have you guys seen the thing where TSA's dropping the deal where you have to take your shoes off?
I didn't know what Sparky
was.
was.
Celebratory. I was like, no shoes, no shirt.
What's crazy is
no TSA.
Going through the non-pre-check line goes faster than the pre-check does as of late.
So
your valid point was they have more people to help you with that.
Yeah, it's that part too.
Us TSA pre-check people call that Gen Pop.
Man, listen to me. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm over there looking at this crowd go through. I'm just like, hold up, that guy was behind me. I'm pre-check. Why? I don't even have to take my shoes
Just
off.
imagine how I feel in the clear line.
The clear line is faster?
Clear line is very fast.
Is it?
Are people walking through there like all roided up?
No, the clear.
Yeah, there it is.
It's very funny. I'll fly places with my lovely
Like
fiance.
Sammy Sosa strutting through there. With Barry Bonds.
I'll fly places with Peyton, and she'll be like, "Are you going to go through security with me?" Nope. See you at the gate, honey.
One could say I am in the clear.
No, I'm going to the clear line. My $50 a year is going for me to skip the line.
My dearest, I love you,
leaving with
but
something.
we must depart at this moment.
I'm from around the way. We'll leave it with something. And I love that.
Hey, by the way, speaking of the clear, since we're on steroids and stuff real quick.
I took us there, but yes.
I mean, listen, if Brent said he caught a contact high from Savage yesterday, I can say steroids and illegal drugs, okay?
That's fair.
Well, that's fair. That's tit for tat. Okay. By the way, Rampage Jackson is doing a whole lot of social media stuff as a late UFC fighter. Quentin Rampage Jackson. Rhett knows who he is. Okay, either way. You know what Rampage Jackson is. He broke down a door.
I know
the
river rampage at Dollywood. I've ridden that a lot.
You don't remember? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, with the story of like clear and steroids.
I don't know much.
His son or somebody was talking to him. It was like, yeah, you took steroids all your life. He's like, what are you talking about? I never took steroids. Here he is saying that he didn't know he put steroids in his body after all the years he's been having. Like, they call you Rampage for a reason. Like, you may have been clear by the time you got tested. But, sir, I'm sorry, but who doesn't know when they're taking steroids? Especially if you're an MMA fighter. Like, come on, broski. What are we talking about here?
Fair enough.
You would have to be Drew Barrymore from 50 First Dates for that to be a thing.
Yes. It was like, I took steroids. Like, yes.
That's a poor correlation, but you understand where I'm drawing the line.
I've actually seen that.
Just keep forgetting is what it was. If you hadn't seen that movie, Will.
No, I've seen it. I've not seen any movies, but I have seen that.
Rampage Jackson played B.A. Baracus, Mr. T's part on the movie version of the A-Team a few years back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
With Liam Neeson.
Right.
That's how a lot of people would know him that don't know about fighters or whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's 38 and 20, or 38 and 14 in his career. He's a good fighter. Real good fighter.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Rampage Jackson. He had an era, wouldn't you say?
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he had
did.
an era.
Hey, there's, I believe that's this weekend.
Yeah. UFC in Nashville.
But there's also this. I don't think this is UFC.
Oh,
I think this is a boxing event. Amanda Serrano, that was the sub card match in the one where it was Jake Paul, Mike Tyson last year.
Yeah.
Remember, she had that
they got
giant
bloody.
cut over her orbital bone right here.
They got bloody.
She's throwing hands with somebody this weekend. I'm like, it's
Katie
on
Taylor.
Netflix. Yeah.
Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano.
Like that lady made a huge impression. I'm like, this girl is bad A.
Nice.
You know why you don't know Rampage Jackson?
What's that?
He's from Memphis. Graduated Raleigh Egypt High School.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There it is. Tied all the way back in.
There it
All
is.
the way back.
All right. I've derailed the train.
No, that's quite all right. That is quite all right. Rhett, the roster bubble for the Titans, before we get to our game of Name That Titan this morning, who else is on the bubble that you feel like has the best chance to make it? How many more guys are on our list this morning we're going to get into?
I mean, when we're talking about opportunities, I go back to the UDFAs, and then we'll discuss some guys who are currently on the roster that may, be fighting for a spot. Desmond Evans, the pass rusher, is very interesting to me. And, they picked him up. He's a rural North Carolina guy, went to UNC, 55. He was a 5-star, ESPN 5-star, I think 24/7 4-star. But anyway, Played in 55 games for the Tar Heels, 224 tackles. 2024, 38 tackles, 10 for loss, 5 quarterback sacks. I think that was a high. Played 1,900 snaps as a Tar Heel. And he, like I said, 6'6", 270.
1,900 reps, that's a lot of reps.
You're going to see big fella. I mean, he is a monster. And then I would also go back to Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, the tackle that started at San Diego State and then last year transferred to Florida. 11 starts at right tackle, did not allow a single sack. And you're talking about all the woes they had with quarterback injuries, with Mertz getting hurt and DJ Lagway coming in and out, and to not give up a sack, not too shabby there. 6'7", 316, 83-inch wing, 34 arms, hands 10.5, 46 starts between San Diego State and Florida. And I think 5.33 in the 40 at 6'7", 316 at the combine.
And the guaranteed
and a
money
187 first 10.
Yeah. Sorry, he had a significant guarantee in terms of what he was paid.
$265,000 is what was reported.
That is a significant investment in getting him to be a Tennessee Titan.
And the other one that I would mention just because of where we are with this position, and again, this is subject to change. They could bring in somebody else that gets cut somewhere else. But we've talked about James Williams and we've talked about Cedric Gray in this. But David Benda, the linebacker from Texas, is another one that's very interesting to me. Just under 6 feet, 5'11", 5'8", 235 pounds. I think he ran a 4.6 40, 18 reps at 225 at his pro day. 61 tackles, 5 tackles for loss in 2024. Appeared in 52 games for the Longhorns, 16 starts. And the reason that math doesn't work right there is there was a log jam of talent behind him, and I think they actually had leapfrogged him at some point in terms of some reps and playing time. But he brings a lot of experience. And again, that's a special teams type thing too. So that would be that. Now, for people, and look, people want to automatically draw a line from Cam Ward to Xavier Restrepo, and I wouldn't disagree with that. I think that makes complete sense.
Why? Right.
It really does. But when you're talking about that, was it 12 or 13 guys they have in the receiver room right now? And so you have 7 or 8 guys that are basically fighting for 1 or 2 spots, depending on what they keep. So that's a guy that could fall into this category.
Right.
And then looking at some second-year and third-year guys, Jaquan Jackson in that same group.
Bubble.
And receiver, returner, had his woes at returning last year.
And you brought in a lot of those this offseason, and Chimere Dike and Tyler Lockett, who can do that job.
Yeah.
It is going to be tough
Bryce
to make
Oliver?
this team. Bryce Oliver, too.
Yeah.
Mason Kinsey as well, who is still making plays.
That's the only reason I would say anything about small question mark beside Xavier Restrepo is because he's still there. Mason Kinsey is what you want. He will not go away. That's a coach's dream.
Absolutely.
It is. He's always the best fallback plan for a team like that. Yep.
Second-year man and 7th-round pick Jalen Harrell from Michigan is something that's interesting there. And, obviously as he plays teams or whatever, I mean, that could be the line for any of this. We're talking offensive line. You wonder about Jalen Duncan.
I do.
And
you wonder about Jalen Duncan.
Because Blake Hance is not only a guard, but he is also a swing tackle.
Yeah.
And then you have the guarantee you gave Crenshaw-Dixon. It feels like those 3 guys are battling for 2 spots.
Yes.
And Blake Hance has got a really strong chance of making the roster.
I was going to say, I would put Jalen Duncan probably last on there.
I would too.
Because you can see more optimism, right, with the young guys than you do the older guys 9 times out of 10.
Right.
And so while we're speaking of optimism of what your starting 5 should be left to right, and I mean optimism as in let's get Lloyd Cushenberry back rolling where he needs to be. But so you're going to have Dan Moore, Peter Skoronski, then Lloyd Cushenberry in a perfect world.
Yeah.
Kevin Zeitler at right guard, and obviously J.C. Latham has moved to right tackle because they picked up Dan Moore in free agency.
Right.
So now you're talking about depth, backup, swing, opportunity people.
And not just that, too. I look at this one with the amount of veterans that they brought in at those positions, too, Rhett. Like, they're looking for guys that can come in and play and plug they don't have to worry about. Like, I feel like Coach Bill Callahan this time around said, give me guys with some experience I know I can trust, because that goes a long way as far as sustaining your offense as it pertains to there's a rookie going in, or those times we had to worry about, like, Jalen Duncan going in this time. He's got backups now with reps under their belts.
Well, and let's think about it this way, too. Just the science of what the active 46 on game day looks like and who you have available, because it's typically, 8 to 9 offensive linemen that you're – and so – if there's a strength in the core starting numbers, starting unit, maybe that allows for a little leeway that in a position you need somewhere else. Like there's the math, the roster gymnastics is what the GMs and what I've heard Brian Callahan speak of frequently.
Real quick before we segue, where's John Ojukwu? He in that same conversation. You keep him around. Because he finds himself serviceable. Who was out at left tackle? Dan Moore was out, and John Ojukwu was in.
Well, and here's the thing you've noticed. You saw it. John Ojukwu has put on the bulk. The thing that is against him genetically is that he has always been a little slighter in the lowers, in the hips and the legs. And that's just genetics, DNA. Like, he can't help that.
He can't help that. No. At least he know MTV.
He's a smart guy. Yeah. He has taken every advantage of every opportunity and they poured resources into him last offseason in hopes that he would be some valuable. So, I mean, that's a crowded room, too, that they're going to have to figure out. Now, you need bodies to get through these joint practices and training camp and things like that, and obviously 3 preseason games.
It's tricky, too, because they also don't have to have 53 from their roster at the end of camp. Right. They could leave 51 and then have 2 open spots for guys to sign on waivers. And the way they went and made a late-round pick swap for Dennis Daly a couple of years ago in order to skip the waiver line, well, they're at the top of the waiver line. They don't have to swap any draft capital to go get someone they feel like is about to become available. They can just wait for them to become available and get cut.
For the first 3 weeks of the season. That's right. Luxury.
That goes all the way up to the Saturday before the 3rd game.
That's crazy.
And there are a lot of veterans that are not going to make rosters because if you put a vested veteran on your active roster in week 1, their contract is fully guaranteed for that.
You're on the hook.
Yeah, you're on the hook for that.
Week 2, that could look different. And that's why I say
not fully guaranteed.
It could be as many as 5 or 6 guys between what is deemed the final roster after cuts after Friday, August the 22nd against the Vikings, and then what it looks like before September the 7th in Denver.
Exactly.
I agree.
All right, we're going to play a game of Name That Titan with Ramon Foster and Rhett Bryan this morning. I'm excited about this. How confident do you guys feel in this?
I'm going to be honest with you. Out of 10, I'm probably at a 3.5.
I've done this with Rhett before, so I feel like he's going to be good at this.
Out of 10, I'm going to say I'm about a 6 or a 7.
Okay.
Fair enough. Because
fair enough.
He does research and he can throw me a curveball. So
he wants to win too.
Not necessarily.
Well, he's the ref in this part, so don't be throwing any damn 15-yard penalties.
Man's trying to get on TV by calling calls now, ain't he?
Player number
and he
1.
Walk through the door.
Just call me Drew Carey with him. Player number 1. I was a 3rd-round pick from an SEC school. I spent 4 years in Tennessee and had a career year in 2011. But my best football was in my 10th season when I earned a Pro Bowl nod with 896 receiving yards in 2018 for an AFC team. Who am I? 3rd-round pick from an SEC school of the Tennessee Titans. 4 years in Tennessee, career year in 2011. I had 896 receiving yards for my first of 2 Pro Bowl nods in 2018. Ramon Foster will let you guess first on this one.
I'm going to be honest with you, Will. I ain't got a clue. Nothing's ringing a bell right now. I'm trying to think of like older wide receivers that made their Pro Bowls from an SEC school. Who's coming out of the SEC?
And then had a career-high season for an AFC team with 896 receiving yards at 31 years old in 2018.
In 2018?
Mm-hmm.
I bet 0. I name nothing.
Okay. Rhett?
I got to be honest. You've got me stumped, too. I'm thinking.
Okay.
I know I'm going to know it as soon as you say it.
What if I give you the SEC school he was picked from? How about that? A 3rd-round pick.
He gets to take another guess if that's the case.
We'll go first. A 3rd-round pick out of South Carolina.
I figured it was South Carolina.
Of the Tennessee Titans. Had a career season in 2018 with 896 receiving yards.
Cersei? No, he was a DB. Out of South Carolina?
Mm-hmm. Rhett?
Jared Cook.
Jared Cook
Didn't ring a bell.
is player number one. Player number one, Jared Cook.
I had to have something because I'm like, man, because he was in my head of 3 or 4 guys, but I'm like,
Fair enough.
I thought Jared Cook was more of a tight end.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
I didn't
yeah,
say he was a receiver.
Oh,
I just said he had
hell,
896 receiving
he said,
yards.
yeah, he said receiving yards. You were stuck on.
Receiver. That's what I
you
was
were
talking
stuck on
about.
receiver.
No, that's why, honestly, I had Jared Cook as one of my 3 or 4 things rolling around in my head because he said, it was the way he set up the question. I was
Right.
like, wait a minute.
All right,
Receiving yards.
I'm going to give you guys the team they
was
were
good.
drafted from in college.
That was good.
I'll give you. All right, so this one, if you don't get it at first, if you're stumped on it, I'll give you the college team again, but we'll do this the same thing.
Okay.
I was drafted by the Titans in 2002 from a Big 12 school. I played 4 years in Tennessee, 2 in Carolina, and 2 in Pittsburgh, including my final season with Ramon Foster in 2009. Who am I? Offensive player.
Offensive player.
And you said out of what conference?
Big 12.
Big 12.
If you're totally stumped, I will give you the school he was drafted from.
Give me the school.
Yeah.
Drafted from Kansas by the Tennessee Titans in the 6th round of the 2002 NFL Draft. Retired after 2009, where he was teammates with Ramon Foster.
Only person I'm thinking of, he's an Alabama guy, is Anthony Madison. That ain't him.
Offensive player.
Offensive player, I know. Is it,
May or may not have been in the same room as you, Ramon
Yeah.
Foster, as well in 2009.
no clue.
Rhett?
Yeah. When you said Kansas, I'm like, wait a minute.
So I'm trying to think. I ain't
This
running
one's
this
not
down.
This one's
is not
hard.
a receiver. This is not a.
This one's hard. Offensive lineman.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Uh-huh.
But I can't think of.
6th round pick, 2002 NFL Draft. Don't look at the F&M Bank chat, but somebody in the chat's got it. They
I'm
also
not
may have looked
looking.
it up.
I got nothing.
Justin Hartwig.
Okay.
2002 NFL Draft. Ramon is sick. That's all right. That's okay.
No,
That's
it's not.
okay.
There's so many of those guys
I
back
know.
in then, and I'm like, that makes total sense.
He got a ring that year before I got there, too.
Yep.
And he just got a contract. By far,
All right.
one of the welcome to the NFL moments. All
right.
Third one. I am a defensive lineman from LSU who spent 2 years as a teammate of Ramon Foster's. I was drafted in the 4th round of the 2010 NFL Draft by an NFC team. I spent 3 seasons and started 9 games in one of those seasons with the Titans, next to Jarrell Casey and Daquan Jones.
I got
Rhett
it.
Bryan?
Al Woods.
Al Woods.
Al Woods is correct.
Yeah.
It's well
Al
done.
Woods.
Al Woods is correct.
As soon as he said LSU,
No staff.
Yep. Defensive line, big body.
oh man,
Al got it in for a few years, too.
he sure did.
Yeah,
Man,
big old
he
country.
Good nose
had
tackle.
legs and ankles like fence posts.
Hands, the size of a basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
And a great dude.
Al Woods. He is a great dude.
All right, this
Him and
next
his
one
wife.
is tough. I
Oh,
will
boy.
say. I played my entire career on defense in the AFC South, but I wasn't drafted by the Titans. I was a 4th round pick out of North Carolina. I had my best season in Tennessee in 2007 when I posted 122 tackles and 2 interceptions. Played entire career on defense for 2 teams, one of them the Titans, one of them another AFC South team. Again, the preface of this is all these players were during Ramon Foster's playing career. I'm
Where
not
did you
picking
say
any.
this person played?
North Carolina. Played for 2 AFC South teams his entire career. Had his best season in Tennessee in 2007, posting 122 tackles and 2 interceptions.
At linebacker.
Played for the Colts and Titans.
You got this.
Rhett's got it.
Rhett got it. I ain't got it.
Rhett?
David Thornton.
David Thornton is correct. David Thornton, good linebacker for the Titans. Great inside linebacker.
And you talking about another great dude.
David Thornton.
DT is a great dude.
This one is more recent. I'll give you the school if you need it again. I was a mid-2010s day 3 draft pick by the Tennessee Titans out of a college from the Northeast, and I posted my best ever season as a rookie. Nearly half of my receiving yards came in my first year in the league, and I only had 230 total yards after I left Tennessee after 3 seasons.
I got it.
Really?
Yeah.
Hit me.
Kenny Britt?
Rhett?
That would be my guess.
This is Tajay Sharp
Get out
out of UMass. 520 yards, I think it was. Yeah, 520 yards in year one, and then he only had 230 yards after he left the Titans.
And I don't know if he still holds the record, but when he came out and was drafted by the Titans, he was the all-time leading receiver in catches and yards for the Minutemen.
Nice. Solid.
The Northeast got me.
Player number 6 I am excited about. I was a 2014 free agent signing by the Titans, where I would play for 6 seasons. I only played for 2 teams in my NFL career, both in the AFC, and my career overlapped perfectly with Ramon's as an SEC player and NFL player. As we retired in the same season, I retired as a Titan on defense. 2014 free agent signing, played for 2 AFC teams. The other team that he played for is on the Titans schedule this year. 2014 free agent signing.
Defensive player?
Defensive player.
I thought you was going Quentin Spain, but you said SEC.
Uh-huh.
That's not it.
I thought he was going to say Nate Washington.
Yeah, Nate.
Because he said
Nate.
6
I thought
years.
about putting him in there too.
Retired the same
But then he
time.
said SEC, and I'm like, no, that's not Tiffin College.
No, exactly. Not Tiffin. Undrafted free agent?
No,
Oh, I thought you said
I don't
undrafted
think so. Let
free
me double
agent.
check.
No, you're probably right.
This player was actually an undrafted free agent.
Wesley Woodyard.
Bingo. Wesley Woodyard.
Yeah, Wesley.
Wesley Woodyard. Yep. Only played for the Broncos and Titans, and his career was the exact same years as yours.
That's my dog.
I know.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put him in there so you can pick him out of the lineup. There you go. I probably made those too tough.
No, that
but
was
that was
good.
that was a challenge.
The way you set it up and the way you framed it when you ask who they were, no, it works.
That was solid.
Do you
Don't
want
change.
you want the bonus one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Or like
Let's see if I get a
we're
parting shot.
talking-
I led 3-2 in this, which is, hey, man, that's good,
That's
though.
not bad.
Solid.
That's not
That's
bad.
good for
Solid.
you. Because
I can't believe I missed Hartwig.
You're playing, though.
I know.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
covering
Yeah.
what's going. Like, it's much harder for you.
it.
You got those blinders on, like we were talking about.
But this is good.
My bonus player for Rhett was 5th round pick. This is very difficult. I had not heard of this player, to be fair. I was a 5th round pick by the Titans in the 2004 NFL draft by a MAC school, out of a MAC school. I played 4 seasons in Tennessee and 4 in St. Louis on offense, where I lasted 8 years in the league. Overall, I made 46 starts for the Titans on offense from 2004 through 2007.
And he went on to St. Louis,
Went on to St. Louis.
and it's a MAC school.
A MAC school.
I'll give you the
Offensive?
school if you need it. Offensive player.
Yeah, give me the school.
Miami of Ohio is the school.
So he played with Big Ben.
Played
Yeah,
on the
he did.
offensive line for the Titans from 04 to 07 out of a
40
MAC
plus
school.
starts.
Out of Miami of Ohio.
Is that Eugene Amano? No,
Nope.
he didn't play for.
That's a good name, though.
You want it?
Yeah, give it to me.
Jacob Bell.
Jacob Bell. And that's
It's a
right. He
deep
did
pull.
leave here and get a
Went
nice
to St.
contract with
Louis.
St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
Because we used to call him Jakob.
I was
Jacob Bell.
yesterday's years old when I learned who Jacob Bell
No,
was. Let's
Jacob
respect him.
Bell. He was a pretty damn good player, too.
Yeah, he was good.
crazy.
I read about his career. He's solid. So anyway, there you go. There's Name That Titan.
Wow.
Solid. I made those tough. Sorry.
Hey, no, that you make them perfect. Is what it
Perfect.
was.
You're
All
an
right.
excellent host.
Good stuff.
This dude was a career starter.
Yeah, I know.
Jacob
Right.
Bell.
Right. And I just wanted to give some love to interior offensive linemen who stuck around in the league.
Realist. Okay.
Rhett
You're the
Bryan
realist.
joins us on Wednesdays. One more pre-training camp visit, Rhett, and then in 2 weeks, we're with you from training camp.
Just a few more sleeps.
Can't wait. Good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Coming up next, Inky Johnson Midweek Motivation wraps up the show. Ramon Will, the 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the show on this Wednesday. Appreciate Rhett Bryan stopping by. If you missed any of that, if you missed any of college football teams most likely to make their first playoff, or if you missed the Foster Five, where Ramon complimented defensive linemen, if you're any pro defensive lineman out there listening, you have tangible clips now of Ramon complimenting you.
So I can be fair.
If Haloti Nada's out there listening, then Foster 5 is wherever you download podcasts. Just search Ramon and Will, hit the follow button, and every nanosecond of the show is right there for you.
And my honorable mention list is even better too, Will, I thought. So a whole lot of praise was going around.
Some news out of Tampa this morning. Rick Stroud, longtime Bucs reporter, says that one key player for Tampa is going to start the season injured. And significant for the Titans, obviously, because joint practices are down there. All-pro left tackle Tristan Wirfs, Rick Stroud says, who underwent surgery on his right knee Tuesday, will likely miss at least the first couple games of the regular season. He aggravated a right knee injury in the offseason that forced him to only miss one game in 2024. The Bucs scheduled arthroscopic surgery for Wirfs on Tuesday, and some additional minor damage was found. We'll start on the pup list.
Yeah, that sucks. This close to training camp, this close to the season. Now they got to move their entire plans around training camp schedule and everything else. Plus, for the Titans joint practice, you want it good on good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd love for your edge rushers to go up against Tristan Wirfs.
Femi Oladejo trying to go up against him.
Your tackles to see how Tristan Wirfs does things.
Yeah, instead he gets a beach vacation while in training camp.
Mm-hmm. That is exactly right. So not great for Tampa. Not great for the number 5 quarterback in the NFL, Baker Mayfield.
Also just backs up my why he didn't make the top 5 list.
I
kid.
He's
deserving. Let me stop that. He's very deserving.
He is very good.
Yeah.
He is quite good. Tomorrow morning, Ramon, there is some intel out there about Tennessee recruiting that we'll get into tomorrow.
Saw that. Went and saw him. Good player, too, man.
We've got some new stuff from Steve Wiltfong and Chad Simmons, the whole crew at On 3 and Rivals, with a prediction for Tennessee to land tackle J.B. Shabazz, who has a top 3 of Ohio State, South Carolina, and Tennessee. Those two reporters predicting Tennessee to land him. And these two guys are saying Tennessee has got a chance for a top 5 class in the country.
I'm seeing also
the high school class of 2026.
Braden, was it Roush's? Oh, he already got it.
Yep. So it is tomorrow. Coach Mack will be here. And we'll see what else coming up tomorrow morning. Inky Johnson wraps up the show. Midweek Motivation, how we end every Wednesday morning here on Ramon and Will.
I was at a game a few weeks ago, and we chilling and we talking, and one of my buddies, his daughter is one of the top soccer players in the nation, right? Great player. Ended up tearing her ACL, so she been out. We just talking, chopping it up, and there was this big tournament that his daughter would have been at for all of the top soccer players in the country. But she couldn't attend because she's recovering from an ACL injury. So one of his daughter's friends went because she's also one of the top players in the country. And so while she was there, the friend, she was balling, doing amazing, right? And one of her parents went to her and was like, man, how is the experience? How's it going? And the friend said, man, the experience is awesome. It's amazing. Right? But I wish Kai was here. Kai was the one that got hurt into her ACL. He's like, yeah, man, Kai recovering, doing a thing. She'll be here. She'll be back in no time. Like, why you acting so sad? Like, Kai gonna be back. Kai all good. You're doing great, right? Why you so sad? You're doing great. The little girl said, yeah, but Kai lets everybody know they're doing great.
She's a
happiness maker. Like, yeah, I'm doing great, but if Kai was here, Kai's also one of the top in the nation, but Kai lets everybody know when they're doing great.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you check Simone's phone right now, who's behind the production, and if you check Oak's phone right now, if you check Keyshawn's phone right now, like, you'll hear voice memos from me on the elliptical treadmill in the morning, working out. Hey, what up? Championship, baby. How you feeling? Let's go. Let's go. Simone hit me back one morning like, hey, that got me up. I love that, right? A happiness maker, man.